and I might have just put a couple strips of bacon in the oven. And you really can't top a morning where you put some bacon in the oven to get through the first segment and Perfect Strangers comes on. That's a pretty good start to a Thursday morning.
And harmonica. Oh, what? Yesterday we talked about cakes in the first segment. Today you're starting with bacon. What a week! What a week I have on the show.
I may end up fixing. I didn't eat much last night, so I may end up fixing breakfast during the show today because I could eat. I got some leftover steak from the other night. I got some eggs, but we're gonna fix some bacon here in the first segment. I popped it in the oven there and was a little late hopping on the live stream, but that's okay. It'll be nice and crisp here in the next 20-25 minutes.
First ever radio show that thinks it's a TV show. We have a segment on radio.
Right. Got to get going.
Welcome in. Hope your Thursday's off to a bacon kind of start this morning. I'm not sure that's where you can be from an optimistic sports standpoint for the weekend. Spring game and series finale on Saturday. Still, I think, kind of up in the air when USC puts out the press release yesterday that they're monitoring the weather situation. Not a great sign. To me, that's a sign that some adjustments are going to be made. They say they're going to do it this afternoon. If they do it, they'll be announced by this afternoon. Bill, what do you think? 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon, Williams-Brice Stadium is the scheduled start time for the spring game with a 4 o'clock start time for the Carolina-Arkansas series finale after that. How do you think this thing plays out, man?
I think if you want I think everybody better get all your work done today. I think a lot of you might want to go in, maybe cough a little bit while you're doing your work, maybe sneeze a few times, tell the boss you might be coming down with something you don't think you'll be in tomorrow, because I got a feeling tomorrow is going to be a very busy sports day for the University of South Carolina. Right now, as we see here at 6:07 on Thursday morning, my guess is we're going to see a doubleheader in baseball tomorrow, 2 9-inning games, I think is what even Mark Kingston alluded to, and I think you're going to see a spring game tomorrow night. So I would tell people to, as it stands today, get all your work done. If you are wanting to cut out early on Friday, I would maybe add an hour or two and get everything done. I really think we're going to end up seeing everything pushed into tomorrow to get it done.
Again, that's just Bill's opinion. Right now, we're just speculating. This afternoon, supposed to hear something official from South Carolina if adjustments are going to be made because of the weather. So that's where we are. That's kind of the 21st century advantage. Shane Beamer has said that they moved it up before in his spring game tenures through the years at different places. He remembers at Oklahoma, they did something similar to what Bill's talking about, and that we're supposed to do it on Saturday, and then a couple of days beforehand moved it up to Friday. And it's just something that might have to be done. We don't know for sure, and we'll know as soon as we do know. We'll certainly pass along the official word here on 107.5 again.
Baseball is one thing, and I guess you were up late last night because I saw your tweet again as I woke up at 3:30 this morning and looked at my phone and scrolled through Twitter for a minute. Of what was the pitcher's name that just decided none of the baseballs were going to work?
Wasn't it? It was for the Cincinnati Reds. Mims, I think, or Sims. I'll double check it and get the whole story for you. But the video is just the amazing part of. I've never seen it before. You know how pitchers will call for a new ball and need one, but they don't like the seams on this one, or maybe it's got a little cut on it, or it didn't feel right, so they throw a ball out. How many did he throw out, would you say?
I think it was 4. He threw the initial, and what it was raining. It was raining really hard. You can hear the announcers. It was raining because you can go to Tim's Twitter and look. He tweeted at about 11 o'clock last night because it was 4 hours. 3:30 is when I kind of woke up and scrolled through Twitter for a minute. But I saw that and I was like, oh, what is this? And but if you watch it, it was cold and rainy. The announcers in the background are talking about how this is not baseball playing weather. And apparently the Reds pitcher just decided he was going to take his own personal stand. I think he got ejected. Is that the end of the video? He was ejected. I don't think they called the game. I believe he was ejected.
I'm looking it up right now. So Lucas Sims is the guy's name. He ended up walking in a run, the game-winning run for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the ball game. 5-4 was the final score. with just the video of an umpire giving a pitcher a new ball, and the pitcher just keeps throwing them out.
Throwing it over to the first base side. Keep throwing it over to the first base side. It's not that ball. It's not. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's funny. It's worth a few. It's worth about 22 seconds of your time this morning. But I say that because that's a right there. Weather and baseball don't really mix. Jen, what is going on in Chicago? I was watching. What was I watching yesterday? The Nationals, I think. It was afternoon baseball, and they said it was in the 20s in Chicago and snowing on April 21st. Is this how Chicago works? I didn't know it snowed in Chicago on April 21st.
No, we prefer it not to, and I got an interesting narrated video from my sister when she rolled a little video of the snow coming down and kind of covering the grass and stuff the other morning. Yeah, she was displeased as well. So this isn't normal. This
again goes back to the story I told you guys of the time at Lexington, South Carolina in April when I woke up and turned on the news and it said it was going to be in the 30s or the low 40s that day. So I put on my big old Michigan starter jacket, big old puffy jacket, jeans, little winter hat, went to school. Everybody was in shorts and a t-shirt looking at me like I was the crazy person. And it was at that point that I realized I was watching the WGN news after watching the Bulls game the night before.
Silly you.
This is the latest it's snowed since 1989, I think, Jen, is
in Chicago or in the country?
Yeah. In Chicago, Indiana, it was like a couple of those states. There was snow. I think there was snow from a lot of like Indianapolis up to Chicago.
Yeah.
That Reds game we're talking about, it was delayed, and then snow popped in as well. And then if you saw any of the Colorado Rockies game, I mean, it was really coming down from a snow perspective yesterday as well.
So yeah, but to finish that with the spring ball, I think everybody would agree. Baseball's one thing. You can't. It doesn't mix. Football. I mean, I sat through one of Will Muschamp's better victories was the downpour against Missouri, which they rally and win 37-35. We've seen football played in torrential downfall. Tim, I don't know if you went to the 99 game, the Hurricane game, South Carolina and North Carolina State in Raleigh. I'm sure some people listening this morning remember going to that one. So football's played in rain, but there's no reason whatsoever at all when you play each other in a spring game to play in rain, let alone what they're calling is potentially thunderstorms and heavy rain on Saturday afternoon. So you move it up, you call it off completely. You just don't play you don't do it during the rain. So whether it's tomorrow night, Sunday,
for the fans or the players.
Both.
For the players, but I mean both. But yeah, for the players, you don't do it for the players.
Yeah, don't get them hurt.
South Carolina's thin enough as it is. You don't want
your generation.
You don't want somebody. You don't even go outside.
Right, exactly.
This is the guy who doesn't go outside when it's decent weather, let alone.
Yeah, I know, and it shouldn't be allowed to get as cold as it did last night after it's essentially late spring at this point. That should not be allowed. Because I left and worked in shorts and a t-shirt last night because that's what I do every night, and it was 39 degrees, and I regretted it immediately.
Yeah, heat came.
Yeah, I got the heat crank back up in the garage for sure this morning. I thought we were by that, but we're not. But that's why we brought up the other weather issues across the country. Yeah, it's not great for us, but it's not snow. That's good. And Patrick, I really want to introduce you to a guy I heard on the radio the other day that was complaining about getting sunburned sitting at a brewery.
Hey, sure.
Yeah,
soft.
That's exactly my problem.
Did you not wear a hat?
No, I don't. My hair's too nice to wear hats.
What a story.
I'm very proud of you for that comment. I feel like I helped bring that comment to life, but I also like maybe it's time to invest in a hat, big guy.
My head's too big as well.
Well, you got to find one hat. You got to find one hat that works. One's out there somewhere. Maybe a bucket hat.
Size 8s. Size 8. Huh? Yeah, that'll do it.
It's tough life.
803-404-6100 is the number into the program. Let you hear a little bit of what Shane Beamer had to say from Carolina Calls last night. He did discuss the weather situation, but not just that. And again, this afternoon is when we're expecting an update from USC about any potential shifts in the schedule, both for the spring game on Saturday and baseball on Saturday as well. But this might be when it pays off. Bill, you were complaining about how Alabama is the only one to have their spring game on the regular SEC network. And I wouldn't think the SEC network's giving much pushback on shifting the schedule since they only have the SEC network plus broadcast scheduled.
Wasn't Alabama on ESPN?
Yeah, Alabama
Yeah,
was just on the SEC network. They were fully
No, I thought,
shown.
yeah, ESPN. Yeah.
They were fully
Regular
shown on.
ESPN. My fault. They're all the same to me these days, except what you got: ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, the SEC network. I think those are the ones that I get on my little digital TV package these days. That I go through that I push one button to get, and then you go through the ESPN app to get some of the other stuff, and it's all kind of running together unless it's on the Longhorn network, and then I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get the Longhorn Network. We all discovered that earlier this year. But I would assume that your announcers were going to be at the game to begin with. I mean, one thing we've really learned from the last year is that announcers being at the physical location of the game is not that much of a priority anymore. I don't know, Tim, if that's something that ESPN will completely change and go back to, or if we'll continue to maybe see broadcast more frequently with announcers. I know it had happened a few times prior. As I remember watching a Clemson basketball game 4 or 5 years ago where the announcers were in Bristol. But it does make me wonder if one of the effects of sports for us will be that announcers will not always be at the game moving forward. Especially, I think I was watching last night, the Yankees and the Braves were on, and it was Tim Kirchin, Eduardo Perez, and Carl Ravitch. Well, and she's too, yeah. But Carl Ravitch, and I didn't realize they were kind of talking how basically they pulled off a doubleheader. They'd been at the Mets game the night prior and just hopped across town for the Yankees Braves, which was why they ended up doing those two games back to back in the way that they did. So I wonder, though, with travel and maybe trying to cut back on expenses, if you'll see certain networks cut back on people actually being at the game, which makes me wonder, given that it's an internet broadcast or something that'll be streaming this weekend, if the announcers were actually going to be here or if they were going to be watching camera feeds.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but I agree. It will definitely change moving forward just because that was the rare exception pre-COVID that announcers were at games. I remember there was one college football season opener in Australia not too long ago. I forget the two teams that were playing. But that was it just sounded a lot different at that point because the announcers weren't there. I think they've done a good job at tweaking that and making it sound as good as it can. Last night, that Braves-Yankees game, by the way, the Braves getting a really good performance from Ian Anderson on the mound, 6 2/3 shutout baseball. AJ Minter comes in, puts out a bit of a jam, pitches out of a jam. Will Smith closes it out. Did you see Austin Riley? I don't know if I've ever seen this. There was a throwback to first. I forget exactly why. Austin Riley was on base. I forget the play exactly, but the throw goes over to first. They might try to double him off or something. And he slides in and then turns his head back to the field. And as he's turning his head back, ball right in the chin. Not anything that knocked him out of the game. And by the way, in this game, Ronald Acuna Jr. did not play. He's still day-to-day with that abdominal strain, cold weather like you're talking about. Not an ideal time to get him back in the lineup. So this is relatively early on in the game. And then later in the game, Riley goes opposite field home run. So good day for Austin Riley down in the 8 hole for the Braves, and a good day overall. Seemed to be kind of getting things back on track. 8-10 now on the season. The Atlanta Braves are much better than the 6-11 New York Yankees, where they think the sky is falling completely. And 1-1. They just played a quick 2-game series. I believe the Braves have a day off, and we'll get back at it starting on Friday. We're going to get back at it right after our first break coming up here. Bacon has some people fired up, at least one texter hitting us up this morning. Bacon makes everything better.
There's no doubt about it.
How's it coming over there?
I don't know. It's in the oven. Got to go check. It's probably. I cut the oven down low because I knew the first egg would be kind of low. It's low, and it's going to be a low and slow morning. We're gonna bring it up, make it nice and crisp here as we go. But so I'll have to do a spot here and then go check it.
Oh, Patrick's firing up the whiteboard. Chris is asking the Gamecocks even want to win tonight, because here lately we've been doing better when we don't even win the first game in the SEC and have won 4 straight series with 3 straight series opening losses, I believe is what it is.
Yes or no? Bacon a meal or a side dish?
Okay. We got a tremendous debate going, and Patrick is pumped because we're 1 week away from the NFL draft. Yeah.
I was watching the 2016 draft this morning.
Oh, of course you will.
Sorry. Wow.
I was just gonna watch through some of the old drafts because it's fun. The 2016 was the most electric draft ever because that was when there were 2 trades up for 1 and 2 for Goff and Wentz, and that was when the Laramie Tunsil hit the gas mask came out right before the draft, and
that was electric.
Just electric television, seeing all the announcers just freak out and try to make sense of it on the fly.
It's like watching paint dry.
And it was arguably the most impactful thing that's happened. Well, I guess now that other Deshaun Watson situations have come up, it has changed things. But the fallout from that Tunsil tumble down the board has changed the entire NFL for years. I mean, like 15 draft picks or something like that have been exchanged in the wake of that, just because he basically built the Dolphins into a contender.
I think we're going to have to play the word nerd game with NFL draft now. You could have given me about 100 adjectives. I would have never gone with electric.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that
NFL
too.
draft television.
What?
We'll see what else we can come up with on a poll question this morning for you. Glad you're up early with us this morning as well, whether you're checking us out on Facebook Live like Travis and Chris, whether you're on the YouTube Live like DC, who's telling us it's 32 degrees in Birmingham, Alabama. Jake up with us on the YouTube live feed as well. If you're up and rolling on Twitter, you can find us on our station feed at 1075 The Game. So that's the video stream sponsored by Buford Lending. You can also check us out, as always, on the FM dial, maybe just the audio stream on 1075thegame.com or our app. So many ways to get us. We're just glad you're a part of the program. 803-404-6100 if you want to join. You can call or text that same number. That's 404-6100. And Jen is very perplexed by the art Patrick continues to
How do you draw
put
a
up
football
on
helmet?
the whiteboard. You are a braver man than I, because I wouldn't even try to draw on the show.
Is that a
I
heart?
got nothing on.
I was trying to draw
Patrick,
a football
you
helmet,
turned
but then I
yourself down.
realized when I started
You got
drawing the
turned down
mask.
one or the other.
No, he did it.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I was trying to draw a football helmet, but I started realizing I don't know how to put the mask on it in
A
2D.
football helmet to you looks like a heart?
Well, it looks like a heart because I've erased the face mask now.
Part of a glove where they've got a severed hand.
Could you draw? Do you have
Yeah,
paper in front of you, Bill? Probably not.
Can I draw a stick
You have
figure?
paper in
I am
front of
the
you?
worst.
On the fly, could you draw like a solid football helmet?
No, I can't draw. I can't draw stick figures. The lines are inaccurate, and one arm's longer than the other, one leg shorter than the other. I'm an
No way to
awful.
say draw a self-portrait.
Hit the break. Go to break. This segment.
He says
I
y'all
need to
need
go
to
check
stop
my
with
bacon. I got to go check my bacon. Let's go.
He says y'all need to stop with the food talk. I'm still in Lent and missing the bacon.
What?
It's over.
I was gonna say. Ending ended.
Back
didn't it?
better for yourself.
Go to break.
What a first segment. It's the early game. It's 1075 The Game.
Clear.
Just going out there to hire some guy that has a famous last name. It's not some retreads, a little bunch of guys that I think are ready to prove to people that we can do some special things that new.
All right.
I do believe that things always meant to be well.
Bill's trying to count over there, looks like.
I am proud to announce that there will be bacon served at my house here in about 3 or 4 minutes. As excited as I am about that, Love Chevrolet, much bigger news. They are much more excited to announce that once again they have received the Mark of Excellence Award for 2020. Now, you ask, what is the Mark of Excellence Award? It isn't just any trophy that you put in a case. That's what it is. It's the Mark of Excellence Award. It's the highest honor any Chevrolet dealer can receive, and it's only given out to a handful of dealerships in the entire country each year. Bacon is given to everybody. Just go to the store. The Mark of Excellence Award, though, totally different. It's an exclusive honor given only to Chevrolet dealerships, and it's only given to a handful of them. So right now, Love Chevrolet once again receiving the 2020 Mark of Excellence Award. It's for commitment to providing you with the absolute best sales, service, and customer care, like the largest selection to choose from, 14 acres to be exact, and of course, the great financing program. They've got financing options for all of life situations, from buy here, pay here, all the way up to 0% financing for 72 months. You need to trust a company that's been in business for 60 amazing years, and that's exactly who Love Chevrolet is. I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads. All right, let's go see what we got.
From the Shepherd's Glass Trap.
All right, Patrick, I was going to say, how would you describe a good NFL draft as the full question?
What's a word for when you don't know what's coming, but you're excited? Anticipate.
Yep, anticipation is the word I think you're talking about.
I feel like there's a better one, though. I feel like there's one really good word that it's on the tip of my tongue. I'll get one.
Okay.
Suspenseful?
There you go.
I feel like there's even a more powerful way to say suspenseful. Let's see. No, I think it's suspenseful. It's pretty good.
How about intriguing? No?
Yeah.
Suspenseful. Yeah, I don't think that's good.
Isn't apprehensive like
Nope.
nervous?
I think you're describing your own emotions now, not the actual draft.
Well, yeah, that's how a lot of fans are during the draft. You're hoping the guy you want doesn't get picked.
Oh, what was I saying our yes or no question was going to be yesterday? You remember?
About the draft?
No, it wasn't about the draft at all. It was just a simple yes, no. Forget what it was now.
What else are we talking about? Was it
Line
not sports related?
anticipation. I hear you there, Chris.
A few
I
more
haven't
minutes.
had any bacon in a long
A few more
time.
minutes. I want it a little bit more crispy.
Bill, what other word can we use for the NFL draft besides electric? Patrick says suspenseful. I'm going, how would you describe a good NFL draft?
Mind-numbingly boring.
Wrought with trades.
Oh, what would you describe? What would be?
Active.
Yeah, active's a good one. Active's a good one. Because you got to. But here's my question for Patrick. What's a bad draft? What's the draft where you come in on Friday morning grizzled because it didn't live up to your expectation?
That will never happen.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Because there's nothing that could happen to make that. Because if I think a lot of people made bad decisions, then I'll still have enjoyed it.
Is bacon? I don't know if bacon's a meal. It's own everything. You can do a BLT. You add bacon to eggs. You add bacon to a hamburger. It's the ultimate utility player. It can step in anywhere and make any meal better, but I don't know if it's alone a meal.
What meat alone is just a meal?
Steak,
If you're
chicken,
supposed to have sides,
Barbecue.
you still need
Barbecue.
sides.
you don't have to.
No, you don't have to, but that's what you're supposed to do.
But you always say eggs and bacon. Do you want a hamburger with bacon? Or BLT?
There's not a single thing I wouldn't want bacon with.
Right, but that's the point. You always have to have it with something.
Is it the best complimentary item out there?
The problem
It's
is
Scotty. Bacon is Pippen. Bacon is Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I don't know if bacon can carry a meal just by itself. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and just ordered bacon? Have you ever seen where it's always under sides?
Yeah. If you eat
it's never just a plate of bacon. Huh?
If you eat a whole meal's worth of bacon, you're gonna have a heart attack.
Not really.
You can't just eat.
It's got a bad rap.
You can't eat a dozen strips of bacon.
I agree.
If you eat
chocolate covered
bacon,
they had a bacon festival. They had a bacon festival back in like 2015, I think. It was down there across from the football stadium in one of those little tailgating lots, not the big one, not the fairgrounds. They had all kinds of stuff. Bacon jam, chocolate bacon.
All right, let's see if you guys approve the poll question. How would you describe a good NFL draft? Electric, suspenseful, possible, or okay?
Chalky.
Those are fair.
Patrick, you approve that poll question?
Well, if people think okay, then they're basically saying I wouldn't describe a good NFL draft.
Well, that's fair.
What would you go with? That's why I put impossible in there.
Impossible? Oh, you put impossible? That was 3? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Are you
good.
listening?
You guys are up.
Grill Bill, 1075thegame.com. That's the place to go to enter to win a $50 IGA gift card. If you are chosen to join us in the upcoming Mondays in our segment, and you get chosen by putting in some good questions, a creative question here or there, making Bill maybe a little uncomfortable, might get you a bonus point or well. And if you're chosen to join us on Mondays for our Grill Bill segment, then you also qualify to win a Camp Chef pellet grill worth more than $1,000. And you get that $50 IGA gift card to buy some beautiful South Carolina pork. Grill Bill sponsored by the South Carolina Pork Board, its member farmers, IGA food stores, and Camp Chef. Bill, what do we got there? You said 2 minutes, about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm going to go check. I'm going to go check here in the middle of the segment. So when I just disappear, because normally we go an extra about 10 or 12 minutes. So that'll be too long. But I wanted a little bit more crispy. So I'm a crispy bacon guy. I prefer it crispy. I don't want it burnt. There's a pretty significant difference. I've got the oven turned down right now. I did the oven on 370, so it was kind of a low and slow type one. And you put it in the oven and you let the oven heat up with the bacon. You don't preheat the oven.
Okay, any particular reason why?
That's what I read in the magazine one time. That's probably in a doctor's office too, I think, on how to fix bacon.
Bacon Illustrated.
Yeah.
That's a great one for sure. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show, no matter how you're doing it. If you're watching the video stream right now, you can see quite the artistry from Patrick Perrette back there on his. I got no problem with that helmet. That one turned out
it's a pretty good helmet, right?
One. Jen, what do you think?
Full cage too.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I was actually trying to draw one straight on my own, and it turned out more like an Easter basket. So
helmets aren't
difficult to draw.
No
for
skills.
Sure.
I don't even know what else I can draw that's football related.
Let's see. You got the actual football. You got the helmet. You can maybe do a field. You can do some yardage markers, a first down marker, scoreboard, anything like that. I might have too much experience in this realm right now. The 6-year-old likes to draw. He's always asking for something and making fun of my own drawing skills. It goes back there. This time next week, Patrick's going to be out of control because the NFL draft will be kicking off a week from today. This is why he started this thing. Nice goalposts to add to your drawing back there. That's led to the Sudeth Automotive poll question this morning. How would you describe a good NFL draft? Because Patrick used electric to describe the 2016 draft. Said he was going back and watching it. That took me by surprise. And apparently, Craig does not like where we're going on this and just says, terrible poll question on the Facebook live stream. And Chris mentions that Monday wasn't a Grill Bill segment. It was a Make Bill Look Smart segment. Yeah, how about that?
It was fantastic.
That's called dumb luck right there.
And did Jason give
That's
you the
what it
idea
was,
to
though.
draw the goalpost there, Patrick? Did you come up with that by
No,
yourself?
he actually put that right after I drew him, which was good timing.
All right. Sorry. Back on track with the poll question there. How would you describe a good NFL draft? At Tim Hill 1075, where you can go and vote. 4 different options: electric, suspenseful, impossible, or okay. Bill, what do you think? Patrick, I'm assuming are you gonna go with electric, or are you gonna go with suspenseful? Which one are you going with?
I'll go with
Pretty simple.
electric. Yeah. But the suspense is kind of what generates the electricity in a way.
Well,
And this
there's
draft will be both electric and suspenseful. It has all of the ingredients to make an all-time draft.
And your all-time draft is what, by the way?
The best draft ever?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. 2011 probably, if we go back in my lifetime, probably will have the most Pro Bowlers / Hall of Famers. But 2016 was hard to beat. I remember watching that whole night unfold. Just my jaw was on the floor. It was unbelievable.
It was a great
there's so many storylines.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I remember watching that thing and just being zoned in. But I'm talking about the first round of the draft, right?
Yeah.
I think you're probably not just sticking with it on the first night. Now that it's become the 3-day deal, you got to evaluate the thing in its entirety. Bill, what do you think? Where are you going with the poll question this morning?
Impossible. But this is a I think I don't have a team in the NFL like Patrick does. I think for multiple reasons, Patrick is intrigued by what the Redskins will want to do, what teams in front of the Redskins are going to do. Like it doesn't impact a team that I have. I'm interested to see where certain players like end up. I want to see where J.C. Horn ends up. I want to see where Shi Smith goes. You guys, I don't know, Patrick, and I'm being serious. I'm not being funny. If you put any stock in this, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay teamed up on a mock draft, and they had Ernest Jones in the top 90 picks. So I don't know if that's gaining steam or if that's an ESPN thing, or if Mel Kiper like twisted Todd McShay's arm and gave him a noogie and said we have to put this guy in there. That's why I say I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, they
But-
probably met. It sounds like they met somewhere in the middle because Mel Kiper had him, 56, 57 maybe?
Yeah.
Is that where we saw him, second round?
Yep.
So, and if he's in the 90s now, that means McShay probably had him in the 4th or 5th round, which is probably about where I would expect him to go. So, yeah, that makes sense.
But the top 90, though, has him as a 3rd-round pick at least.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They probably met in the middle because Kiper has him as a 2, McShay has him as a 4. They meet in the middle and put him in 3.
Well, when did 4 happen? I thought we were talking about 5, 6, or 7 for Ernest
We
Jones.
said anywhere day 3 is fair game.
Okay.
Day 3 is 4, 5, 6, 7. So, I mean, he will get drafted. I just think it'll be day 3. I'd be shocked if it was day 2.
Okay. Interesting to see how the stock rises and falls this time of year. And I put very little stock in what people are saying because I think now it's the misinformation time. Right, Patrick? Aren't you throwing up
Oh, yeah.
smoke screens or throwing out comments out there? That's the weird part because NFL GMs and owners like to have press conferences this time of year to give their fans some insight into what they're doing or the goal. And I just think it's so odd that you would pretend to tip your hand right now. Is it? Help me out with this. Bill's checking on bacon, and we'll be back. He just wrote a note. I'm proud of you for writing a note there, Bill. Good job. Go ahead,
Nice
Patrick.
block lettering. Yeah, I mean, every team is considering trading up, trading down, or staying where they are and picking a player. So there's a lot of options. You hear that in every single press conference. Yeah, we're looking at trading. We're also looking at picking, and names are getting floated around right now. Everyone outside of the top 3 is doing everything they can to tank Justin Fields' stock. There was a news thing yesterday, people talking about how he's epileptic, and that was a big story. And just every single day a new story is coming out of Justin Fields, even though he's the betting favorite. It's super bizarre. I've never seen, I guess I have seen something like it, but it's getting ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. The media is just not doing a good job this year, I think, in being swayed, I guess. I don't know. They're just clearly reporting information that you can tell, you read it, and in 5 seconds you say, okay, yeah, that probably came from a team that's trying to pick this player and get his stock to drop. So I don't know. It also is accentuated with the fact that guys haven't played in a year and you have no idea how that's going to affect anyone's stock. So overall, it's just going to be the craziest draft ever with 5 QBs, guys, several players that are going to go in the top 10 and tons in the first round. There's probably going to be 8 or 9 players that didn't play football in 2 years that will be drafted in the first round.
A week from today, we'll see. And how you look at the NFL draft, I think probably does, Bill. I think you're right. Probably tells us more about you and how you look at maybe football in general than it does anything else. But there are, I kind of agree with Chris, but there are better drafts than others. He says, I would say rounds 1 and 2 are electric. After that, it's okay. I think it just depends on what's going on in that draft too. The trades, I'm all about the big name quarterbacks and guys more in college football. Like this year, it's an interesting combination of guys. We kind of got to know Zach Wilson there for BYU this year. I feel like as a college football public across the country, certainly know Trevor Lawrence, obviously, Justin Fields, like you mentioned, and everything, every way he's been evaluated. Trey Lance is the guy that we saw play maybe once or twice, right? If you pay attention to college football. And then he's kind of the most intriguing quarterback prospect in a lot of ways because of playing at North Dakota State and the Carson Wentz thing going up and down and his talent and how he projects. So you got those guys. You got the classic kind of faceless lineman up there in Penei Sewell with a cool name, but as far as linemen
he
go,
sat out this year, which I think makes
right.
it. He opted out.
Well, it's not just him. You got Jamar Chase. You got Caleb Farley up there from Virginia Tech. You got several big time players that are supposed to be taken pretty highly, and then you got a guy who just had one of the best college football seasons that we've ever seen in Devontae Smith. But now he's been what the word yesterday is that he only weighed in at 165 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, 166, 6 foot, 166. Every time he weighs in, the number's dropping even more, and it's just making people even more concerned. The lower you get, the scarier it is, because like no matter what, it doesn't affect him. He's still a great player, but it's just a scientific fact that the smaller guys have a history of getting hurt more often and being less durable. So it just every time he weighs in, it's mind blowing. He should just have eaten like a whole cake before the weigh-in and just weighed more than as much as he possibly could.
Patrick, that was yesterday's show. Today he should have eaten a ton of bacon.
Zaven Collins ate some
Right.
cake. He weighed in 11 pounds heavier. He was a middle linebacker at 270. Ridiculous, and he's a freak athlete.
Speaking of bacon, John from Somerville says bacon flavored vodka is a game changer. Wow. He sent that in at 627. That's strong, man. Another John says bacon is part of the main course. Without it, it's disappointing. I think that might be the best way to put that. And Jay from Manning says bacon is a meal. Also, how about Clemson's historic win over Carolina last night? And he's talking about softball and 6-0, I believe, the final score. I didn't realize. Did you guys see Clemson? This is just their second season of softball at all. Did you see their record?
They're doing good.
They are doing
Something-
well.
Something.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is absolutely ridiculous, though. Let me double checking it because as I'm about to say it out loud, it doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah. 33-4 is what Clemson softball is. And last night they got a home run early on from their pitcher, Valerie Cagle, and then she throws the shutout, limits the Gamecocks to 3 hits, 6-0 the final score for over at Beckham Field for Clemson over South Carolina in softball in just year 2. Some bragging rights there, and I believe the rivalry series now at 4-3 in favor of the Gamecocks. The way that they do it, Carolina and Clemson keep track in all the sports, and there's only the one game that got rained out, postponed in Carolina and Clemson baseball coming up. I think May 11th is that date here in the next 3 weeks or so. So it'll be interesting to see how that finishes up for this school calendar year in the next couple of weeks. We need to take a quick break here, let you hear from Shane Beamer about the possibility of making some adjustments to the spring game. Could be a day of adjustments. USC expected to make an announcement by this afternoon if they're going to alter the weekend schedule at all because of rain in the forecast. You're listening to the early game here. It's 107.5 The Game.
The Gamecocks and new head coach Shane Beamer.
I'm a process-driven person, and we're going to get started day one, advancing this program and making it better.
107.5 The Game.
I know it's cliche.
Oh, what a Thursday morning. I'm watching the sun beautifully rising up over Lake Murray. I have 3 pieces of bacon in front of me. I might go for more. And last night, I got an incredible night of sleep with a Sleep Number bed. That is how you start a day right there. The sun, beautiful, bacon, delicious, rested, refreshed because of a great night of sleep with that Sleep Number setting on 40 last night. A little bit softer mattress. Great night of sleep. Patrick was mentioning how cold it got. I was wrapped up just like a pig in a blanket, and I felt great because with a Sleep Number bed, I know each and every night I'm getting a fantastic night of sleep. Sleep's imperative to your life. If you're like me, you got kids, you got to take them all over. You got soccer, you got baseball, you got cheerleading. When you lay your head down at night, you need to make sure you get a restful night of sleep to be able to do it all over again the following day. With a Sleep Number bed, I will vouch for them each and every day. It is definitely worth it. You wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go. And right now you can get proven quality sleep. It's life-changing sleep. Introducing the new Sleep Number 360 P5 Smart Bed. You can purchase a queen bed right now for $1,799. 2 stores to choose from here in Columbia. One in Irmo, Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, right now, a queen bed, $1,799. It's the new Sleep Number 360 P5 Smart Bed. You need to go check it out. Sleep is definitely important to your life. Get over to a Sleep Number store today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. I think we might have to go with another round of bacon here to start the 7 o'clock hour.
Tough to stop, that's for sure.
Awesome. Big day. Supposed to be back on the golf course. Continue to work on the game.
Good for you.
What's a tuning fork?
No, Justin, I've had this one for a while. I like this one. Good little hat. I like Live Lucky hats. They're really good hats. You can go. Their website's really good. And let's see. No, Chris, I have not been to an all-star cheerleading competition. I have been to multiple dance recitals, though. And many years of my sister was in dance. And she would always be in Alice in Wonderland down by there's a little theater right on USC's campus. And she would always have a weekend of performances I would have to go to when I was younger. Good times. Bless you.
Just passing along this link that who hit us up with this thing? Les hit us up with. It's worth watching for sure. Check it out.
Bacon and potato salad does sound interesting.
Ronnie hit us up with that on the text line.
Bacon and potato salad.
So how would you guys have responded if a line drive, you caught that as you were doing your broadcast?
I would have done like this move. He had his hands in his pocket. I would have done.
Yeah, right.
Try to get out of the way one way or the other, hopefully. You guys have seen that, right? The Texas Tech guy?
Was it Texas Tech?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
One of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
And just to take it all in stride with, the broadcast, like, okay, so I cut a ball. It hurts kind of a lot, but yeah.
It was awesome. Broadcast Hall of Fame instantly.
There you go.
Patrick, did you get that link?
Is it the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a dog that got loose in a high school track meet. It'd be crazy.
Did he win a medal?
Won the race. Apparently ran the last 100 meters in 10.5.
Nice. I want to see him pass a baton.
Do you see the Carolina call stuff there, Jim?
Yeah, 1 through 13.
Yeah, let's do number 1 coming back, please.
Straight
I
in.
think I might eat bacon from 6 to 8 a.m. and then a piece of cake in the 8 a.m. hour.
Oh.
Bouncing
What a
Bill
day.
at 9.
Yesterday's meals involved pistachios, almonds, and chickpeas last night. So I think I can do this today.
I don't think that's how health works, sir.
Yeah. And black coffee.
Oh, you got the black coffee. You're good. It's like
Yeah.
doing all that at a fast food restaurant and getting
Yeah.
a diet.
Yeah. Delicious.
I'm guessing no, Chris. Bill is just weird when it comes to eating.
I am. I go on weird diets. I'm back under 163 again. Part of that's because I hadn't worked out in a month and a half. No working. Golf today, Craig. I'll be out at the Lexington Country Club Lexington. So what's the best kind of bacon? Hickory smoked, applewood bacon, thick cut bacon, pepper bacon.
Pepper,
Pepper?
and not thick cut.
What is it? Maple? They have maple bacon? Somebody said maple bacon wrong? What we got on the best bacon?
Thin sliced pepper.
See, I think that's like the cake question yesterday. I am not going to be picky. The best kind of bacon is the kind that I'm eating.
Old Tommy's got some good, but Jen, you said you don't like thick cut bacon?
Not a huge fan because I'm with you. I need to have it cut, or I need it to cook really all the way through.
Yeah.
I don't want chewy stuff. You said cut too, right? Straight in.
How about that from Chris P? Never even heard
That
of
sounds
it.
pretty good. Ooh.
All right, so cut.
I don't think we ever seen Chris. Patrick, is that a relative? That's not how you spell your last name. You got an E in your last name.
In regards to the weather, we want to be able to get it in. We want to be respectful of baseball and everything they have going on because they obviously have a big-time series coming up this weekend. So we'll have a better idea tomorrow in regards to any potential changes to the schedule. And then you're right, just trying to figure out. We also have the scenario A. We've got a fairly healthy team, and we can break up into a true garnet and black. Or we don't have as healthy a team as we need, and it needs to be more just offense versus defense. So we've got to both up, and hopefully should know something tomorrow as far as what we're doing.
I keep hearing assistant coach to Shane Beamer there, who was from Carolina Calls with Todd Ellis last night at Home Team Barbecue down at 5 Points. Keep hearing Pete Limbo that day he joined us on our 6-hour extravaganza, an emergency situation, going with the battlefield adjustments. That's what I hear now. Every time you got to make an adjustment. I feel like he's in the background somewhere, just saying that in the football facility over there, echoing throughout everything. And again, this afternoon, expected to hear if there are
15.
going to be some adjustments made to the schedule, but not ideal. Will be interesting to see how all this gets handled, because it would be one thing if it's just the spring game and you have away baseball, you don't have to worry about that, but you also have the baseball concerns and the weather
30.
forecast being what it's being. It's not looking good. I love how 25-year-old Patrick Perrette was talking about how it's a soft generation if you're going to change any kind of football because of rain.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't watch a game.
15.
No.
At least you
Couldn't
admit
think
it.
of anything worse.
Wow.
Would you watch a draft in the rain?
Great question.
Yeah, I'd watch anything. on
He'd
my
stand
couch.
out there, front row. Howard too coming up.
WNKT-FM, Eastern Columbia. Total coverage.
Somewhere. Patrick, is it a virtual draft this year, or are they doing it somewhere?
Cleveland. Not everyone's going. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going.
No.
Did you guys
I
see the
noticed
video
a
of
week
Sam
ago-
Darnold doing like the barbecue testing?
Didn't see that. What's up with
You know the video, the Hot Ones, the YouTube channel where they eat wings? They tried to make it was called Southern Ones, and it was him just eating a variety of Southern foods. This is the most boring 8 minutes I've ever spent in my entire life. He's the most boring dude in the world.
At what point did you realize you had to finish watching it?
Um,
Because you're right, that's 8 minutes you don't get back. Where was
No.
the point where you were like, I guess I better watch this on through the end?
when they brought out the smoked meats. He's just like, it was so bad. It was just like, how do you like the grits? He's like, yeah, those are good. How do you like the potato salad? Yeah, that's good. How do you like the coleslaw? Yeah, that's good. It's like zero personality. I can't believe they posted it. The worst thing ever. And it was like, oh, have you ever had a biscuit before, Sam? He's like, well, yeah, he's a human being. He's had a biscuit before. He's not from Mars.
I love the bitterness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like Will said, I'll never get those 8 minutes back. I could have watched a cut up of Jeremiah Lusu-Koromoa in those 8 minutes playing Clemson or something.
You did really miss out.
But seriously, to me, that's no different than watching the draft. Okay, we're watching the clock. We're watching people on the phone. Watching people in overpriced suits. We're watching, yeah. Woo, man, barn burner.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
I'd rather
That
just
whole
get the
time
best
I'm
at
just
the end.
saying, don't pick him, don't pick him, don't pick him.
You guys in on this with Craig or not?
Are we ready for that conversation? It is that time of year. Yes. Yep. They should be allowed to scrimmage. No FCS games during the season, but you should play an FCS team in the spring game. I'm on board with that.
Doesn't make any sense from a money standpoint, man.
For the FCS teams.
Team do that.
Potentially where we're heading anyway.
Not seeing it. Greg, but from the other standpoint, why wouldn't you want to evaluate 22 guys at a time instead of 11? And college football coaches are all about the control, man. It was interesting hearing Mark Kingston yesterday said he had been talking to Dave Van Horn from Arkansas already about what they might do, and it's a respect thing. You always want to talk to the other team and make sure that they're on board with the. I feel like that's so totally different than how football would handle any kind of change like that. I just don't think you can have two football programs coexisting with a scrimmage. I know they work out in the pros and at this time, but
They hate it. There's nothing the players hate more than joint practices.
there's always a fight or two. It's just
Yeah.
been evaluating all spring, but in practice, man, there's a reason they have these games. It's just you gotta see guys in front of fans in the full game situation. I just don't think we'll ever see it. But I never thought we'd see it in baseball either. They've already done it in baseball. They've, I guess, gotten rid of the super secret scrimmage in basketball as well, where you can at least tell people about it.
I don't know if they've necessarily gotten rid of that.
Well, they just gotten rid of the not being able to talk about it part. Thank you, Carlton. So all that Clemson is on SC State scheduled on September 11th. Yeah, very rarely do you see a team wrapping up a schedule and then releasing a schedule within, same week, same few days?
Oh, Patrick, I caught part of Heath's segment yesterday talking about the NFL announcing May 12th is the release of the schedule. Heath said he was very excited.
We'll have a lot of time to talk about that when that happens. There's really nothing to talk about right now. We already know who's playing who. We just don't know when.
Yeah, but doesn't that matter? I mean, if you've got a 3-game stretch of tough games.
It's the NFL, every game's tough.
Wow. Yeah. That's what, you know what? That's what, if you said Trevor Lawrence isn't going to the draft, I would love for them to like cut to wherever I know he's probably not on honeymoon, but he's in a hot tub, stretched out, just relaxing, and they pan him. They're like, "What do you think about being drafted by the Jaguars?" Like, that's nice, but life is not all about football. This is all about life.
Did you read that story about his wedding registry?
No, right.
Jaguars fans buying him all this stuff.
It was really interesting.
Do you think he's already down in Jacksonville or his wife, whatever, like picking out a house? Do you do that pre-draft or do you wait? Do you feel like that jinx? Even though, I mean, look, he's going to be number one pick. You think he goes ahead and is picking out a house, driving around the suburbs of Jacksonville?
Yeah. I would be shocked if she doesn't have a house picked out. I would be shocked. Yes.
He's already got the playbook. They gave him a playbook.
Well, but the story is, I read this years ago that the teams, when they interview you, will give you the playbook and they'll tape $100 bill to the back. And the easiest way to tell if the guy like skimmed through the playbook is if you open it back up and the $100 bill is still there.
Yeah. So surely that word got out and the guys just flipped to the back.
Yeah, it just started on the back page.
I just skimmed through that sucker real quick.
They're not giving you their actual full playbook, though. They're just giving you a couple concepts that they run.
Right.
I just wonder. That's a part of being drafted that I think is.
It's like the Raiders famously gave Jamarcus Russell several game films to watch, and all the DVDs were blank.
That'd be interesting. How you handle because it's not like college where you're moving into a dorm.
He's not secretly signed because you don't have to secretly sign. Number one draft picks can sign, but the NFL doesn't like that because it kills the suspense.
5.
I guess right.
Little disappointing, Tim. We've had 2 back-to-back, listening to that opener, back-to-back weekends of great golf tournaments. The Masters 2 weeks ago, RBC Heritage last week, and this week I think it's the team event down in New Orleans, Zurich. Is it this? But
they're playing a golf tournament in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, well-rounded you are. They're down there this week. But now just listening to that couple tournaments and what do we do the math, Tim? What is it? 3 weeks away from Kiowa? Is it the 21st? Help me on this.
Yeah, so 4 weeks away, I think is what it is. I'll double check.
Yep. So, but yeah, listening to that little so we got plenty. Obviously, I think over the next 48 hours, Gamecocks and Razorbacks tonight. We'll find out what the spring game is. But I always enjoy a little golf on Wednesday. Kind of gets me going into the weekend.
So what was the disappointing part? I thought that's how you started.
I think having the local tournaments. I think, and I say local, obviously Augusta and Hilton Head is still a little bit of a drive for me or for most. Hour to Augusta, 2.5 to Hilton Head. But those are fun tournaments. I get I'm more involved in those than I am, say, in the Zurich Open or a few other tournaments that happen throughout the year because they're local and because you get to see. Obviously the Masters attracts everybody, but then the RBC Heritage, having been there and seen the course and just everything to do with Hilton Head, just I think makes it a little bit more entertaining. Watching Stewart sink last week was fun, even though he ran away with the tournament. But kind of I don't want to say it's not a week off, but definitely more of a restful week, I guess, for the PGA.
We didn't get to it yesterday, but I briefly mentioned it. There's this weird story that the PGA Tour is now going to be there's a bonus money pool, right? Like $40 million or something. Yeah. And at the end of the year, the PGA Tour is going to pay this out to guys who are basically the biggest influencers out there, the most well liked. It seems like the strangest thing ever. I guess maybe we can tie it into the new name, image, and likeness deal that's going to come along with college athletics as we continue to move towards that. And I saw, was it Altius is the partner with the Gamecocks, and how they put out some social media stuff here in the last few days about schooling people up and the brand and the whole deal. I don't understand what's going on there with the PGA Tour. I guess from the players' perspective, I get it. They're saying, hey, man, in other walks of life, when you have a movie, the actor doesn't get paid based on his performance during that movie. He gets paid what he's worth just to be in the movie. And I think that's where these golfers are saying that, hey, these big-time guys, if you want them to come play in your golf tournament, then they should get paid what the value that they're bringing to your golf tournament as opposed to just the purse for what place they finish in. It's a concept that it's hard for me to wrap my brain around. I don't like it. Just seems to go against like the entire sports concept of you get what you earn, as opposed to you bring some value because you have a bunch of social media followers or people like you.
Well, let's read what it is. It's a $40 million pool that'll be paid out to the top 10 golfers according to what is going to be their impact score. It will be generated from several different metrics, including their popularity in a Google search, their Nielsen brand exposure rating, their Q rating, their MVP index rating, and their meltwater mentions, okay, which measures the frequency that a player generates coverage across various media platforms. So this, and I'm with you. And this, I read this multiple times the other night, and I'm like you. I'm trying to figure out what exactly they're going for here. The guy who has the highest impact score will receive a bonus of $8 million, and that'll decrease down to the number 10 spot. In the article on ESPN, it points out, in theory, a player such as Tiger Woods, who probably, I mean, I guess as long as he's got a tour card, he's on the tour. I don't know how that works for him. He could be number one. He could win. He could get an $8 million bonus for the next several years without playing, if I understand this correctly, right, while he tries to rehab and recover. Because let's be honest, Tiger Woods is golf still.
Right.
Tiger Woods is still the game of golf.
That's so dumb, though. That's all of those factors is how you make money outside of the sport to begin with.
Well, but
that's why Tiger made $1 billion in endorsements.
But what they're doing here is they're pushing golfers to go out and push their brand a little bit. Well, I think Ricky Fowler's done a good job. I think Ricky Fowler's a guy that you're like, okay.
Yeah, but Ricky Fowler's filthy rich because of that. I don't understand why the onus is on the PGA Tour to pay these guys for those.
Bill, this is
everyone
gross.
Has their own individual reason for trying to be well known outside of golf.
This is
it makes you
gross. This is a Bryson DeChambeau thing, right? That's what
He's
what I hear.
Be number one.
This is hey, TV camera guy. You can't be in here showing me getting mad because you're hurting my image. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing in all of this. This is manufactured garbage that you're going to get paid to be more likable. That's not how it works, man. If that's your motivating force to smile and not be words that I can't put on radio right now, not be that guy, not be your true self. Maybe this is more of a Patrick Reed deal. Hey, Patrick, nobody likes you. So the only way we can motivate you to try to be a nice guy is to pay you. That's what we're going to do. Maybe that's just how I'm looking at it wrong here. I don't know. But
well, I
look
don't
on the text
know.
line right now. But Bill, before you get back in there, Gamecock Will says, so this is an appearance fee. Dan in Somerton says, like boxing, isn't pay determined before the fight? It's true, but it's just never the way I've looked at it in golf or other kind of sports, I guess. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, number one, no, I understand what Gamecock Will is asking. Now, to me, I don't take it as an appearance fee, but I do agree with the previous texter with Dan in Somerton. Yeah, I mean, I get why the PGA is saying this, that everybody else goes to work with guaranteed money. You know, even if you stink, even if Nathan Peterman goes out for the Buffalo Bills and throws 4 interceptions, he's still getting compensated for that day's work.
It's every individual sport is the same as golf, though. Like Nathan Peterman gets that because it's a team sport with a salary cap to keep parity. Tennis is the same thing. NASCAR is the same thing.
Jen, if somebody finishes, I don't know. If somebody wrecks and doesn't finish a NASCAR race, do they get some small portion of the pot? Do you know?
Yeah, it's graduated depending on performance, tiered.
But if you win, you make the most money. That's just
how
that's how individual
right.
sports work.
But I don't know how much. If a player misses the cut on a weekend, I've never thought to ask this, just because
they don't get paid.
We never.
Yeah.
But that's, I guess, Patrick, that's their point. You can go play Thursday, Friday, and if you miss the cut, you have a bad weekend.
Yeah, but
you don't get paid for that.
Patrick's point is our country already does this. It's called capitalism. If you're more likable and you bring more value to the deal, you get paid from your endorsements. You get paid to have sponsors. I mean, these guys aren't wearing blank hats and blank shirts. We see that, right? So why are you going to then double up that money that they're already making? From
and they're all quantifiable things, like your Q rating and your social media followers and all those things. Is exactly what brands do when evaluating who they want to partner with.
Well, because I think what you're going for, and again, I'm with Tim. I don't necessarily understand what the PGA is doing. I'm trying to figure it out. What I feel like you're trying to get is these guys not just to wear the logo of something, not just to appear in a Titleist commercial, but to go out and promote either the game more or promote themselves more through other avenues. What is it? How many golfers do you think, just off the top of your head? We know Tiger, but if you've got Phil Mickelson in Workday, and what was the beer he promoted where he was sitting in the woods and it was friends with Phil? Do you remember that? He'd hit it in the woods and he talked. I can't remember.
Was it Ultra?
I can't remember. It might have been Amstel Light, I believe, or something like that. But
worked well.
Like what? Yeah, had a great impact. Well, I don't drink beer, so. But the point I'm making is, I feel like this is being done to get out of your comfort zone and be more like a Ricky Fowler who's doing the insurance commercial, to be more like a Phil Mickelson he's doing the Workday, not just being a Titleist commercial or a Nike. I feel like that's what it is. But I'm with you guys. I understand what you guys are saying. I'm trying to figure out what
and I understand what you're saying too, but that's not the question. Is why is the onus on the PGA Tour? Like every individual, it behooves them to bring more attention to themselves and to the sport of golf, because it will ultimately make everyone in the sport, themselves included, more money. Like the purses are so high in the majors right now because of Tiger Woods. Right. So if there was another Tiger Woods, that would be good for everyone.
A texter
it just doesn't seem like it's the PGA's place to do that.
A texter getting us on track says the incentive pool for the PGA is a result of the pursuit of the top golfers by a premier golf league. So this other entity has come out and tried to basically recruit these guys, say, hey, come play with us. We're going to give you guaranteed money. And the PGA Tour felt they had to respond. I get the need to protect your product. I just think doing it like this is just gross. And to me, it sends the exact wrong message. I mean, how many times have we heard Shane Beamer talk about authenticity and really building relationships and being yourself? And this is the exact opposite of that, right? Hey, we're going to pay you based on how much people like you, based on your Q rating and how much people watch you in the Nielsen ratings and the whole thing, man.
Hold up. Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's based on like. I think it's let me go back and read this thing, because somebody brought this up. Controversial golfers.
You're generating, right?
Yeah, it's generated on popularity in a Google search. We might be searching for someone not based on whether we like them or not.
Right. Patrick Reed, I have searched more Patrick Reed stuff than I have probably any other golfer.
And boxing, I mean, the two richest guys in boxing are now a YouTube star in Logan Paul, who people watch because they hate him, Jake Paul, and Floyd Mayweather, who people watch because they want him to lose.
And I don't know what I'd never heard of Meltwater mentions, which is a Nielsen brand exposure, Q rating, MVP index rating. I guess I say I've never heard of Meltwater mentions. I've never heard of three of these things. But Meltwater mentions, which measures the frequency that a player generates coverage across various media platforms. I don't know how you arrive at this, but you're right. And it feels like it's just it does feel like what Tim's saying is correct, that it's just a ploy to give the top golfers just extra money because this is again from the same ESPN article, according to Golf Week, simulated impact scores from 2019 were produced to give an idea how the standings would have looked. That year, when Tiger Woods won the Masters, he was number one, followed by Roy McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, Phil Mickelson, who was not having a good year, would have been fourth. Ricky Fowler, who I don't think was having a good year, was fifth. Jordan Spieth, who was awful back then, was sixth. And then you got Justin Thomas, Justin Rose, and Adam Scott. I don't know how Adam Scott works his way into that list of 10. I don't know who's Googling or constantly following Adam Scott.
Marshall says, wow, Ricky Fowler will never make another field at Augusta. There's really no incentive to play well now. LOL. Well, the pool is only $40 million, and it's going to be paid out for 10 golfers, right? So in that world, it's not the most lucrative deal, but that's, I think, that's the big picture. I think that the PGA Tour, other professional organizations, they get so tunnel visioned on and so concerned about dealing in that stratosphere that most of us can't even fathom. And to create more of a gap financially between the haves and the have-nots, the fan and the superstar, I think it rubs me the wrong way in a lot of ways. But I get where they're at, and you feel like you got to protect it. I just think it comes across as very insecure. The Premier Golf League is really going to come in and make a serious threat right now to the PGA Tour. That seems just completely unlikely, but maybe there was enough. Clearly, there was enough money involved to where the tour felt like it needed to respond, and now it has. Didn't think we were going to go down that path in our first segment here in hour number 2, but that's sometimes how the show works. It's the beauty of live radio. Glad you're a part of it. 803-404-6100 is the number into the show if you would like to call or text. The Cool Care Heating and Air text line continues to roll in. Jeremy says this is just making the rich richer. I guess the PGA sees this as a way of getting guys to get out and push the golf brand, etc. Yeah, they might have to pay out $40 million, but if these guys can generate more interest in the sport, artificially or not, I guess they figure golf could end up making way more than the $40 million. And Jordan Spieth's dad invented the MVP rating. Another anonymous texter ended up hitting us up with this morning on that Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Want to let you hear a little bit more from Shane Beamer as we continue to roll on. We'll do that when we come right back. He was on Carolina Calls last night. A lot of issues right now for Gamecock football heading into the spring game. I would say heading into Saturday's spring game. We're not sure it's going to be on Saturday at this point, and the athletics department expected to make an announcement this afternoon if they are going to change the originally scheduled 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon game, maybe the 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon baseball game because of the rain in the forecast. So we will keep you up to date to that all day long and let you know the latest if anything does get announced and moved up a little bit because of the weather concerns for the weekend. Again, Shane Beamer coming up. Comments from Carolina Calls last night. That's next. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. New head football coach, Shane Beamer, 107.5 The Game.
Today is an absolute dream come true. Not just to be a head football coach in the Southeastern Conference, but to be the head coach at the University of South Carolina.
Welcome, Coach.
Patrick, you also see the video of Beamer popping out like cocky?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the movie, the Goonies.
Right. But the cocky video just came out last night, right?
Yeah, but that was from 2 nights ago.
Right. Panthers get Penny. I don't even know what that means. Penny, they say in Sewell? Penny?
Yeah. What, is that a mock draft?
No, just a random tweet.
Yeah.
It said Panthers get Penny. Just trying to. Trying to translate.
It's
Yes,
feasible.
thank you, Jason. I am inspirational. Every morning, Jen wakes up inspired to come to work because of my performance.
Sounds like Jason would be, or David would be the worst producer of all time. I think you should produce the old national. David's probably old national producer there.
Isn't David our principal? Is David our principal?
Yeah. Ratings are up when y'all fight. He's the rare principal out there chanting with the kids, fight, fight.
Yeah. Recess is more likable when there's a good fight over at the volleyball court. I think after these 2 pieces of bacon, I might switch to some fruit before the cake in the 8 o'clock hour.
There you go. Balance.
Balance. I got some blueberries, some cantaloupe, and strawberries.
Well done, James. On vacation in Tennessee.
Oh, I like that dodgeball with the principal. That's how you take out your aggression on a few students that are annoying.
Oh man.
Billy Madison style.
Yeah. We played dodgeball in it's called Room 54, and basically it was in the basement, and it was just a very small room that had like mats and stuff, so you could not escape very well. I mean, it was vicious.
Nice.
It was kind of fun. Yeah.
When was this?
High school. Yep. So you get in the room and get a lot of aggression. You learn after a while, like where the ball's going to bounce off the wall to hit, somebody
Right.
that thinks they can.
We played
hide in there.
handball in high school too. That was so fun.
Oh,
Wall ball? Did you ever play wall ball?
Oh, in the garage all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wall ball was a recess thing. You couldn't play that in class. Too many kids in class for that. Handball was awesome. Handball was the best gym sport.
Agreed.
That and floor hockey. Oh,
Floor hockey's fun.
Isn't handball lacrosse without sticks?
Yeah. Or soccer with your feet, with your hands.
Right. Basketball without the basket.
Yeah.
Football without. All right, we can just keep it.
You can. Yeah. I mean, you can run in lacrosse though, and soccer.
You can't run.
We did like one dribble or something like that, I think.
Oh yeah. I forget what kind of rules we played.
I did too.
Long ago.
Jen, you're not a very big person. What was your physical stature in middle and high school? Because you come across as a bully, but I don't see you intimidating other kids and shoving them into lockers like you try and do to me in the bathroom at the studio.
Oh, you're weak. No, I never did any of that.
See, right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I protected people. I always felt for people, but when we'd get into sport situations, it was fun to be a little more aggressive. And like I said, floor hockey and stuff, I got a lot of penalty box, whatever, because I just I don't know, you just get aggressive. It's fun.
High stick.
Well.
Here, Jen, here's a stick. She just looks over at the next person next to her and whacks him one time. He goes, oh, he's soft. He's not on my team.
Well, there was a girl who had bullied me back in middle school, and I remembered. So
she got it good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
Apparently
Girls
so.
are tough. It's the reason that the movie is called Mean Girls.
No, I was always very nice. I was part of a nice group of people. Except in sports.
We have 5 years of examples that do not prove that point.
I protect the underdog at all times.
Co-host. So Jen, I would like to do number 9, but I want to do a liner first.
Okay, then 9.
Thank you.
We always played wall ball out at Ballpark Road at the Little League fields.
That's fun. All right, Tim, you're up.
Oh, bringing it back. You can always bring your hot takes to our hot take hotline 24/7. For instance, in tonight's game, Carolina taking on number 1 Arkansas. You're watching that thing. You feel like you just need to get a comment off your chest. That's what the Hot Take Hotline is there for you.
Yeah, use that instead of Twitter.
6654 is the number. What's that, Bill?
I said, yeah, use that instead of Twitter. There's no need to yell at us on Twitter because the baseball team's doing bad. It's hurtful.
Why has it got to be a bad thing? Maybe it's a celebratory.
I never get when the baseball team is doing well, I never get a tweet like, "Oh man, this baseball team is awesome." It's when the team is doing poorly that people seem to think, for some reason, you or I or Patrick or Jen started coaching midway through the game, and they blame everybody.
But isn't that just kind of the way of life? Like people just, it's easier to complain. That's the reason you may think I'm like ugly and stuff on here, but like legitimately, I really try to, if you get a comment card, if I've had good service, I try to go ahead and give positive feedback and really thank people and stuff like that. Because I think that's important because there's so little of that. It's just so much easier to complain.
Nice work. Nice work, Jen. I think the bacon this morning has been a little extra sensitive.
Salty. That's why fruit's coming up. Fruit starting in the next segment.
One more time, Bill. Sorry.
Fruit in the next segment.
Oh, thanks.
And then cake in the 8 o'clock hour. It's a full meal today.
978-6654. Trying to get you the number there for the Hot Take Hotline, sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see him down in the Vista at 600 Gervais Street. Shane Beamer, the Carolina football coach, in 5 points last night for Carolina Calls. Ask about his offense and give him some details about. I feel like it's still a bit of a mystery, maybe not to everyone like Shane Beamer, but certainly to those of us who are looking forward to seeing it in the spring game and then in 2021. Here's what Coach Beamer had to say about his new offense.
Yeah, we've got to continue to get better in certain areas, like we talked about, explosive plays and whatnot. But I like our ability to run the ball. We took, what we're doing offensively. Coach Satterfield was with the Carolina Panthers last year, and that was the 2019 LSU offense. Now, are we going to beat the 2019 LSU offense? That was historic. So I don't know if we'll be quite to that, but a lot of the same schemes and concepts, and then we've taken a lot of the things that we did at Oklahoma that it's got to fit us, and we got to have the personnel too. But I like where we are right now. We from talking to Connor Shaw and some of these guys that were here last year and some of the players schematically, I would like to think from what Dave told me, it's a little simpler, maybe for our guys to learn as far as what we're doing. But we've got a few concepts and multiple ways to run those concepts. So I do like the way that it's coming along, and the summertime will be big for us, as we continue to advance that, and then preseason camp as well. But through 12 practice, I feel like we are where we are from a installation and offensive standpoint.
Carolina coach Shane Beamer last night, Carolina Calls. Bill, what do you take from that? Because I feel like any head coach this time of year is going to tell you that install is going well and they feel pretty comfortable with everything they have going. That part towards the end about it being a little simpler than the Mike Bobo system is what sticks out to me, and I think might behoove the Gamecock offense the most when you have a coaching change and you got relatively inexperienced or unproven players. I think the simpler can be the better in a lot of ways.
It'd be a great question for Eric Kimry. I think Eric's as good as anybody with X's and O's and concepts of offense. And the reason I say that is because I don't know, and you don't know. I don't know what exactly the difficulty was with Mike Bobo's offense. And you've got to factor in again, Mike Bobo tries to come in and install an offense and only gets 5 spring practices to do it. He doesn't have the typical summer, as Shane Beamer was just talking about. Fall camp was odd and a little uneven. The reason, now on the flip side of that, the reason that Colin Hill won the quarterback job supposedly was because he knew the offense, right? That was kind of the big reason as well. He knows the offense. He understands what he's supposed to do. So I don't know. I think that's something you say. What I do like to hear from Shane is he uses examples of what he wants the offense to look like, but he's quick to follow that up like, hey, we want it to look like the LSU offense in 2019, but we're not going to be the LSU offense in 2019 because they were pretty doggone good. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't LSU and Oklahoma run into each other in the College Bowl playoff? Wasn't it Oklahoma that got just run out of the building?
7 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Beamer knows what that offense looks like up close and personal. He saw it on the sideline. But
That's
think there's a
not
level.
breaking news that we're not going to be as good as the LSU offense.
No, but
for the first
there's
like
a
20
time-
seconds of that clip, he basically said nothing. He said, "We're doing good in some areas, got to prove in some other areas. We like to be like the LSU offense, but we're not going to necessarily be the LSU offense." It's like, okay.
Yeah. And I think that's look, but you get coaches, and I feel like South Carolina just had one who would have hyped that up and said, "Yeah, that's our goal. We want to be just like them. That's who we're going to be." And I feel like there's a level of tempering expectation, but at least he's giving an idea of what the offense will look like. Now, Patrick, you watch that offense a lot. Schematically, you've got bunch formations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Burrow was under center 50% of the time, 20% of the time. What?
Doubt it was 50, but it's probably 25, a decent amount. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm kind of more curious to see is, are you going to see more bunch formations? Obviously, again, we've pointed out those wide receivers were absolutely ridiculous for LSU. And so you're not expecting that with the passing, but is this more of a downfield offense where you're taking your shots? Is it more of the quick hitters and you're trying to move the ball? That's what Mike Leach's offense is, isn't it? It's more quick hitters, move the ball, high completion
Mike
percentage.
Leach is like 90% pass, 10% run. It's why they're never going to win anything substantial.
Okay,
too
but
predictable.
again, you're talking about the concept of what you want to do in the pass game, which is, as you pointed out, it's obviously Mike Leach is pass heavy. So I think that's the interesting part is what is the concepts that Marcus Satterfield has here when it comes to passes. Look, Steve Spurrier, his was about as simple as anything, right? You could watch him, Tim, and you knew there were 4 or 5 patterns. It wasn't that difficult that he liked to run. And they would get open. He had years of experience doing it, and it wasn't a complicated system, but there were 4 or 5 things 4 or 5 certain patterns that he really liked to run, and he would wear you out on those all game if he had the quarterback and the wide receivers.
Well, his genius is making the very complicated seem simple.
Right.
What most geniuses can do. And that's why that part about a simpler system, I think, is a good sign. I mean, you could see it as maybe being too simple if it doesn't work. I get it, and I feel like we're going to kind of write the narrative according to the results. Like Chavo hits us up and says, hearing Shane Beamer talk about the offense always makes me feel like we don't have a cohesive offensive scheme, doesn't put my mind at ease. Well, I think Shane understands that if you're selling this thing or overselling this thing right now and you don't see the results in the fall, and then you get the Will Muschamp feedback from, hey, you just told us this is your most talented team and this is the most competitive depth. Why aren't you seeing this kind of thing? And especially with these coaches working together for the first time, I think he is being relatively cautious while at the same time trying to give people reason for optimism. And that's a tricky line, a tricky tightrope to be on, especially this time of year and where the Gamecock football program is. We'll continue to talk about it as we roll on. Got to kick off the second half of the program coming up next. I see what a lot of you did there. Jen gave an inspiring speech about being positive, and a bunch of you just hit us up. Hot Sauce Ross, love this baseball team! ! Alan says it's the small Gamecock crowd that isn't happy, and they're always whining and not happy if they're winning. On Twitter, got Brandon just said, wow, ! This baseball team is awesome. And then you had Mark, I'll give positive feedback after we win tonight. #go.
That was. There you go.
More from Shane Beamer, Gamecock football, last night's Carolina calls as we roll on here. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Being positive, the theme of this program each and every morning. We are nothing but positive.
That is far more positive than this show. It is saving money on your monthly mortgage payment. If you're looking to refinance, now is the time to do it. Interest rates are low. It's a golden opportunity. You don't want to miss this chance. It may not come around much here in the future. So right now, give the mortgage guru Jacob Crowder a call today. The result will be positive. 803-719-1005. You can email him, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. Jacob and his team, which he's added to, Brian Kovar, adding on to the team now to help more people with what they want to do, whether it's refinancing, whether it's purchasing that new home, getting a great deal, and of course, saving money. That is what Jacob and Brian are in the business of doing, helping you save money. So don't miss this chance. 803-719-1005. That email again, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. He's the mortgage guru for a reason. Give him a call today and find out. He's Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank.
So I hadn't even heard the Justin Fields stuff, man.
Oh, the epilepsy?
Yeah, I remember I had a teacher growing up who had that, and that's kind of how I knew about epilepsy. I feel like you haven't heard about many athletes that have had it before.
Yeah.
There any other names that you came across that I'm talking about athletes or football players especially?
No, I just saw a particular article about Justin Fields. He is definitely the most fascinating name for next week because it might become very obvious what people were trying to do. Like if the Falcons pick him at 4.
Oh, our guy's in. You have no receivers, no line, a quarterback who's only played in a few games but is the next savior like always, a running back that's played no snaps yet, and one proven back. Who now doesn't have a line? Good luck. Most optimistic fan base every year, and it's not even close.
Good. We're doing our job.
Yeah, apparently just talking about this has riled up both Clemson fans listening on the text line. Jim in Carolina Beach sends a softball text in about the 6-0 win last night.
Do you see the NFL pass the jersey number rule?
Yeah, I saw that.
Basically that there are no restrictions anymore?
No, there are still restrictions.
Not as many?
Not as many, yeah.
And then what's the deal with replay?
Nothing.
No, it definitely changed. Yeah, owners okay replay change.
What change?
That's what I was asking you.
I don't think it was anything huge. The big ones.
So replay officials who sit in the press box of each stadium now have the authority to consult with referees on certain specific objective aspects of a play when clear and obvious video evidence is present.
Okay, so like during a challenge?
No.
Sounds like
without a challenge. So now that's the point. They can weigh in, and coaches won't have to throw challenge flags to.
Yeah, but they can't halt the game, right? That was a big problem, I thought.
Right.
So if there's something that happens, the booth can't say, "Hey, stop the game. This is the call." I don't think that.
And back in.
Yeah, it's only during a replay that's already in the process of happening.
Guys are up.
I think.
So, What do you think? The video came out last night. Williams-Brice Stadium, 2001. Apparently it was movie night there the other night for, I don't know, was it just a family and friends type of event? Patrick, you seem to be a very
no, students. It was only students.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So as part of the festivities on the field at Williams-Brice Stadium, 2001, Cocky's out there. The usual entrance for Cocky, the box where he pops out of. This time it's Shane Beamer popping out of there.
Yeah. It was a I don't know. I know because my girlfriend works at the school and was helping with that event where they do like a movie on the field, and it was Shane Beamer's favorite movie. Made the decision that they would watch Shane Beamer's favorite movie. Bill, were you here for this yesterday? You know what his favorite movie is?
No.
The Goonies.
Okay. All right.
And you've never seen it, correct, Bill?
No.
Of course not.
Nah.
Movie Fest for Bill coming up.
Yeah.
Well, summertime is around the corner.
But the movie season.
Would you watch some of those if like we got you at Williams-Brice Stadium? Maybe we need to have like an 80s fest.
Mortal Kombat comes out tomorrow on HBO Max.
I read the
Goonies,
Wikipedia on that.
Airplane.
Sounds pretty good.
It's going to be pretty good.
Again, reading the Wikipedia about movies is just
Yeah,
one
I
of the
know what
strangest
happens
things
now.
ever.
It makes.
Now,
makes
you know
sense.
what?
Yeah, but you know what happened from the video games.
And I could go to Wikipedia and
Uh,
totally change it, and you'd think it's legit.
It's also true.
Doesn't matter. I already read it. And no, I don't. Guys, I'm the adventurous one out of the four of us. Patrick sits inside. Jen does her yard work. Tim's chasing the 1-year-old all over the carpet, who's constantly having to get the carpet cleaned. I mean, like, I'm the one that goes out and is dealing with snakes, and I'm fishing. I'm playing golf today. I'm the active one of us. I don't really just sit around and watch movies.
You're playing golf in the afternoon on a Thursday.
Wow, what an adventure.
Most people can't do that.
This guy.
Wow,
Mark
man.
says, whoa. I just pulled up to my house and had to spring inside. When did Patrick get a girlfriend?
Let's have one.
It's been a while, Mark.
It's been an ongoing.
Yes. He had to sprint inside, he said.
What we've never gotten confirmation of is whether our Get Patrick a Girlfriend Day actually worked, or did he just take credit for getting the girlfriend?
No, it gives us no credit, nor do we deserve
Yeah,
it.
she hates sports, so it definitely wasn't from this program.
Good for you, Patrick. Good for you. My point in bringing up Shane Beamer in that video, we have a texter hit us up. Trey says Justin King's Twitter clip of 2001 is the visualization of how polarizing Will Muschamp and Shane Beamer's passion for Carolina truly is. Feel like this is going to go one way or another, right? It's going to continue to be that, what Trey's saying, and one of the reasons that, or the main reason that sets Shane Beamer apart from Will Muschamp and helps him get the program back on the right track, right? Or it's going to be, if it doesn't work, it's going to be, oh, it's too much cheerleading or whatever to that effect, right? That you're shaking your head, Bill? No?
No, I was just looking at Sonny's thing. Keep going. I'm sorry. We'll get back to that in the off-air discussion. No, I think what you're saying about Shane and the passion. I mean, look, this program, you guys agree with it. We know because we do the radio show. The attitude around this football program at the end. What word we did a poll question earlier to describe the NFL draft. What one word would you use to describe the end of the wheel? Apathy, negative. I mean, if you had to pick one word, and I think
division. I think is what I would say.
Part of the
divisiveness.
Yeah, and I think part of the interview process for Ray Tanner was explaining that to coaches that interviewed. Like, look, man, you're not just trying to come in and rebuild a football program. You got to rebuild a fan base a little bit. And I know that yesterday, what did you say, Patrick? This was a student event only. Was it open to all students? I was.
I think it was
unaware
open to
of
all
this.
students. Yeah, I would assume so.
So, but there's part of that, and it is having to rebuild some of the fan base. And we talk about the way that Shane and these coaches have addressed the media, the transparency that I think we've seen so far. I don't think that necessarily translates to winning games in the fall. That's not going to all of a sudden make this team a 9-3 team in the fall just because Shane Beamer is bringing positive vibe to the fan base and because, they're being more transparent. But I do think it helps rebuild a culture that was there during the Steve Spurrier era. And I think Shane's an interesting guy when it comes to seeing three different coaches in particular, Kirby Smart as well, and you can throw in his time at Mississippi State, but three different coaches who I think have impacted him the most. And that's his father, and how his father interacted with people. I think that's Steve Spurrier and how Steve Spurrier interacted with his players and ran a program where, Tim, you covered him. Patrick, you weren't here yet, but Tim, you and I, we covered him. The loose feeling, the relaxed feeling of those football teams under Steve Spurrier, the good teams, was a complete 180 than the hyper tense feeling of Will Muschamp, even when they were an Outback winning team, right?
Yeah, but I think you could say that about Lou Holtz too. I mean, it's just the coaches' personalities are different. Holtz was much more of the, hey, give it the rah-rah, make sure we're practicing as hard as we can practice. Preston Thorne told the story the other day of he thought it was a great idea to get his team, show how tough they were, to take them into the bubble and play softball with no gloves. Brilliant stuff. I mean, that's just his like old school mentality. Steve Spurrier was the, hey man, if players are good, they're good. Give them a little space, and that was more of his attitude. So I don't think it's just the difference between Spurrier and Muschamp, but there was a significant difference, no doubt.
Yeah, and then you've got what is really the new age kid, the Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln needs to get to a championship game and continue to build Oklahoma, but there is a different feel there, and I think those three people, and Shane could answer this obviously much better than I could, but I think if you look at what I've seen through the first 5 months, is him trying to mold those three people into his own coaching philosophy and his own coaching style.
How do we know that?
Huh?
We just hear him say that. Lincoln Riley has zero personality. What do we know that he's implementing from Lincoln Riley other than him just saying it? Because who wouldn't try to do that? They're the most prolific offense in college football. But what have we seen from him that indicates, he's taken a lot of Lincoln Riley with him?
I think the way he interacts with his players, I don't do that. Spurrier didn't do that.
What?
And I think you see the videos. You see the videos where he's talking with the players. You see now, granted, Justin King does an incredible job, so maybe it's a quick video of that. But I think the energy on the practice field is similar.
That's from
to
Lincoln Riley?
Well, do you think it's from Philip Fulmer?
I don't think it's from Lincoln Riley.
Why?
I think he's just a natural. I think Shane Beamer is just naturally energetic, but Lincoln Riley's not out there jumping around, pumping guys up. He's just reading his play sheet.
Okay.
Well, I think you're underselling Riley. Remember last year, he was making headlines relatively frequently about his team's perspective and his program's perspective on how they were handling COVID, and basically saying the SEC was starting practice too soon and the whole thing. He's not the strongest personality, but I think you're underselling him big time when you're saying there isn't a personality there. We'll continue to discuss, and I think you left out Sylvester Croom there, Bill, with a huge influence. I know you mentioned the Mississippi State time. I think that, especially since it was so early on in Shane's coaching career, and Sylvester Croom with a pretty big time personality, and I think that had a pretty foundational effect on Shane Beamer and how he's approaching things too. But again, it is the first time as a head coach, so I think that's just a natural deal. You take all the influences and you figure out the best way that you want to handle things. The best thing that we can do right now is take a break. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join the program. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game. The Game on everywhere. On the air, online, on your phone or tablet, on the app Alexa.
A little chilly last night. Might have actually had to turn your heat back on. I did. And I tell you what, if it wasn't working, you might not have had a very fun evening trying to get some sleep. You need to always make sure your heating and air unit work. I make sure I do that. That's why I use AAA Heating and Air. Roy and Dana, a family-run company. They'll treat you just like they treat their own kids. They'll make sure that they come out, that everything's in proper working order, and that you will be comfortable when the temperature rises to 98 degrees or whether it falls to 28 degrees each and every day. And with Columbia, we're learning you never know what's around the corner. This weather is incredible. We do know in July, August, September, it's going to be high 90s. We know in December, January, February, it's going to be in the 30s. But you want to make sure your heating and air unit work. And people are always concerned something's wrong. You got to get a new one. AAA Heating and Air will take care of you. They'll pay you $1,500 savings just to take away your old unit if there's an issue. Then they'll offer you 0% financing and no money down on a new unit. That's treating you like family. That's why I use AAA Heating and Air. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. I had the technician Billy come out to my house. Fantastic guy to work with. He walked me through just some of the things that were going on, explained some of the issues, got them completely fixed. And now, if it turns out to be 95 degrees next weekend, given that we live in Columbia, you never know. That very well could happen. I'm ready. My air conditioner is ready. My kids won't be sweating in their rooms. You need to use AAA Heating and Air. I highly encourage it. 803-677-1500. Give them a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Oh, I love how the live chatters just doing their own thing. They don't need us to talk. They talk amongst themselves.
That's right. It's a community. One morning we're all going to have to maybe during the summer or maybe for lunch, we're all going to have to get together for a lunch. We'll do a big lunch somewhere. Have a live streamer lunch.
Basically do breakfast. You
breakfast.
You did it today.
You know what? I've got my cantaloupe right there. Get some blueberries here in a minute. Depending on numbers, I'm not opposed to hosting a breakfast, depending on numbers. We're not bringing 120 people up here.
Attaboy, Trey. Hope's in. She says she's in for lunch. It looks like you should just cook for all of us. Nice.
I did. Yep. I did bacon. We got some cantaloupe, blueberries, and a piece of cake coming up in the Kerry Tharp segment, probably to celebrate my first place spot right now.
Hey, you know what, Bill?
No, that's what.
Go ahead, Tim. What you got?
I've got pickles.
Tim was saying something.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's the first show we do back in studio. Is you hop back out on the sidewalk and get the grill going? Just
there you go.
As people go by.
That's the one time that I've ever actually been nervous about doing something outside because I wasn't sure if we were breaking some kind of fire code, or that was the one time that we did something. I was like, man, I don't know about this. I'm not sure that we're allowed to do this.
Attaboy, Mark.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice work, Trey. Cake and mimosas, sure. Will the cat be at the breakfast? You can guarantee if it's at Bill's house, the cat will be around.
It's hard to say. I saw Clyde yesterday, I think. The cat and the snake.
Now Sonny's going to stay and go fishing. Perfect.
We got a big mouth.
Cat and the snake. Perfect. Going to have Kip Balknight's going to pop in the 8 o'clock hour, probably towards the top there. We'll just do a relatively standard baseball preview, and then we got Carrie on at the end of the hour.
Okay. The top hour, we'll get back in about a minute and a half late because I had to do a little shifting.
Gotcha.
When we go to the top hour, Tim, Jen and I got to pop off to do a sleep number real quick.
10-4.
Oh, the complete behind the scenes. Look at that. We were cutting up about breakfast and we transitioned right into actual work. The beauty of the early game. Bring the cake. Look, so far we got someone bringing mimosas, someone bringing a cake, someone bringing fishing rods. Hope's bringing nothing to the table, just showing up.
End hour bed here. You're up.
That was quite the hour number 2. As we get ready for hour number 3, Kip Balknight, Golden Spikes Award winner for the Gamecocks, SEC Network Plus analyst, going to join us to talk Carolina and Arkansas. Game number 1 tonight, 7 o'clock first pitch, 6:45 airtime here on 107.5 The Game. Also got Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president, going to join us at the end of the 8 o'clock hour. Bill, what do you think? I think this is a pretty good word. You asked the one word to describe the end of the Will Muschamp era, talking about Shane Beamer and that video of him popping out like cocky at Williams-Brice Stadium. Disconnect. disconnected, I think is a very fair word. What about you?
Okay. I get on board with that. Yep.
And you going more bacon, or you moving on to cake here in the 8 o'clock?
We've already had some cantaloupe. We've gone bacon, cantaloupe. We're going to do some blueberries and then a slice of cake around 8:20. It's a good morning. Beautiful morning. Sun's up. Happy Thursday, everybody.
And you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What are you giggling at, Bill?
Trey's comment about a Pentecostal service I've ever seen.
Gotcha.
All right, Jen, you want to do this real quick, or you got something you got to do?
I'm going to do that.
All right.
Nice. So good to know.
We have remotes. Everyone's going to come to Loyal Iso every Friday for a year. But they all just want to go to Bill's house.
Just Bill's house. Wherever the bacon is, I think he'll probably show up. Oof, that doesn't sound like fun at all, Chris. Did you catch up on any sleep yesterday, sir?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not catch up, but
I saw a disturbing tweet that your chance of getting Alzheimer's raises like 30% if you don't consistently get 6 or more hours of sleep a night.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Got to find a way to get 6 hours at least, man.
Yeah, I'm getting 6.
Oh, okay, good. All right, Balk Night should be good about 20.
8:20.
Yep. So we'll try to take the first break, and then go baseball with him. That'll basically lead us to the next break.
Yeah.
Jerry. These guys are all over the Goonie stuff. I'm a little concerned.
Did you see the video of the one-armed basketball player with like ridiculous handles?
I didn't see it, I retweeted it, man. I had seen it before, seen a video of him before, but not quite one like this. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, man, check out.
Did you retweet one from Ross?
Yeah.
Ross Tucker,
At Tim Hill 107. Go and look at that thing. It is incredible.
Look at that.
Retweeted it last night. The one-armed basketball player. You haven't seen it yet?
It's on Ross Tucker's page.
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. In a good way. The guy is amazing. I was gonna retweet something like, I've been telling my kids about Jim Abbott. This guy makes Jim Abbott like unathletic, which is impossible to do. I think I erred on the right side of discretion there, not tweeting that out.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it, Bill, and you're unimpressed. That's what I got. Yeah, but this is not park basketball, man. This is legit AAU stuff. Yeah, no doubt, Mark. You got any problems? Put that thing on. Yeah, what's that kid's story? Do we know? Have you looked
No
it up,
idea.
Patrick?
I didn't even know his name.
Right, I didn't either.
I would assume he was born that way to be that comfortable.
Daughter ate all the blueberries, apparently. Had to go to strawberries.
Hansel Emmanuel, it looks like, is his name.
Yeah, I've never seen the Goonies. I'm just not a movie watcher.
So this was a deal down in Orlando. He plays for Life Christian Academy, originally from the Dominican Republic. Dude averaged 25 and 11.
I mean, he's very clearly been playing his entire life with one arm. It's not like a new occurrence because you can't be that comfortable dribbling like that. His handle is insane. He's like crossing people up.
So he lost his arm at age 6 when a wall fell on him.
A wall fell on him? And he's
yeah. He's from the Dominican Republic. It's a little different than what we're used to.
I think my kitchen would put any single guy right now to shame. I have more plates stacked up from the party the other night that need to be washed.
The other night? Oh.
Yeah, I was tired yesterday, and I didn't feel like when I came home, I just kind of laid on the couch. I had to do that thing with Mark Rogers last night too, and I didn't clean my kitchen. And I'm very low on utensils right now because
what is that thing with Mark Rogers? A segment?
It's like you popped on the internet for a few minutes to talk football, right?
You did a segment of radio. You did a segment of radio, so you couldn't do dishes.
I had to get on the computer. It was same thing. Yard string. Yeah, it's time consuming.
Unbelievable. So
I was listening, Chris. I just wanted to talk about my own stuff.
All you guys who wanted to go over to Bill's house know that that's what you're getting yourself into.
No, I'll have the maid come over before we got to get together. She's due back in a few weeks. Or due back.
No, it's definitely not impossible. Chavo, watch the video.
Yeah, he's just going through his legs and behind his back, but back to the same arm.
Where is he at? New York? Orlando.
Hansel Emmanuel is his name. New hero.
Travis, I think I definitely got to get more paper plates. I go to my other plates way too often.
You mean plates? Yeah, and only if you can do the dishes there, Trey.
No, I do the dishes. I just wasn't in the mood last night. I'm tired. I had Patrick's attitude. Patrick, didn't you say that like all you use is paper plates or something? Or like there's like one fork in the house or?
No, I have a ton of plates. I have a ton of silverware. I just don't like doing dishes, so I use plastic.
Yeah. And you're a spoon guy, aren't you? Do you even do forks?
No, I don't really do forks. I don't have any knives either. I used a spoon to spread cream cheese on my bagel this morning.
That's what I'm using right now, a knife for a fork. I mean, cutting up the strawberry, but it's also serving as my. I'll try and do it tonight.
Oh, yeah, the other video I retweeted last night, this dude from Montana Tech is definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, he's classic.
So ridiculous.
Wait, is that the guy that Heat played yesterday that talks about not having heating and air in his Tahoe?
No, that's Portland State basketball guy.
Chase? I think we have that audio because he played it on his top 5 at 5. It's worth playing again and laughing.
This Montana Tech guy makes that guy seem amateurish.
All right, guys, are up.
a bit of a question mark as we roll into hour number 3 about the upcoming few days for Gamecock Athletics because of weather concerns about Saturday spring game set for 2 o'clock and then the series finale still scheduled for 4 o'clock on Saturday. At this point, expecting an announcement from the University of South Carolina Athletics Department later this afternoon if they are going to make any kind of adjustments. So in a bit of a holding pattern there.
If they put out something yesterday that an announcement could be today, I just feel like that's telling me that there is going to be a change. Maybe it's just baseball moving to a doubleheader because of what Patrick said that we should give Tommy Moody credit for about not being able to play a game on Sunday if you start on Thursday. So don't you assume that something is going to be moved, right?
Well, certainly. I assume when I see that press release yesterday that monitoring the weather situation and an announcement will be made by Thursday afternoon that the wheels are in motion and they're playing out. Mark Kingston talked about several different scenarios. He and Dave Van Horn have talked about the Arkansas coach. So I feel like there's going to be an option A, B, and C now. You either stick with the schedule, you go with what you think is the best shifted schedule, or then you have another one as well. And you have a couple of different scenarios here. Bill, you mentioned when we started the show this morning, you're thinking tomorrow is going to be a really busy day, and that might be both for the series finale and the spring game. Might just get moved up a day, or tomorrow night. And Shea Beamer talked earlier this week about how that happened out at Oklahoma one time that it was supposed to rain, so they moved a Saturday spring game up to a Friday night. So we'll see. Again, nothing official at this point, and all the scenarios I think are on the board as far as moving things up.
Let me just ask you, and I'll kind of put this out there to everybody too. This spring game, is it more for the fans or more for the players? This spring game, because of where South Carolina football is at, and the word you use, disconnected. Like I feel in a way the players can go. You can have a spring game. The coaches could even use it as a 15th practice. Like you feel like, I'm not trying to be funny on this, but Tim, we did joke about this. You feel like if this was Will Muschamp, he'd be like, no, we're canceling the game and we're just gonna have a practice. We're just gonna have a practice because I feel like right now, because of where the fan base is at and the wanting to see the team in person, wanting to see Luke Doty, wanting to see Jordan Birch, wanting to see different things, that this is more about trying to fit it in for the fans, because the team can go over on Saturday if they want to have a game, right, and go into that nice indoor facility and play a game in the rain, or they can move it back a day. They can have a practice on a Sunday. They can have a practice on a Sunday that fans couldn't come to and still play the spring game. But this is being done strictly for the fans, right?
No doubt. Trey hits us up on the YouTube live stream, says 1,000% for the fans. I'll make it even simpler, more simpler than what you said, Bill. You talked about quarterback and other positions or what. How about Gamecock fans would like to go to Williams-Brice Stadium and leave feeling good about their program? That hadn't happened since the Auburn game, right? And so much has happened since then from a Gamecock perspective. I mean, Bill, I think you're the best example of about 180 degrees since the end of the Auburn game, where you put out the tweet that you were convinced that the Gamecock program in great hands because of the offensive coordinator and what we saw with J.C. Horn and the defense. I thought that the defense was on the verge of actually developing the identity that Will Muschamp and Javaris Robinson wanted them to have, and they would build on it, and the exact opposite happened. Things just fell apart from them. And I don't know exactly what happens on the field at Williams-Brice Stadium either tomorrow or on Saturday that does equal Gamecock fans feeling good about the program. Maybe it's Kevin Harris playing about 3 plays, breaking off a few good runs, and then hanging out on the sideline. Maybe it is. I think, Patrick, kind of your point this week has been it's got to be Luke Doty looking like a passer and impressive with his accuracy and having a handle on the offense, getting his team in and out smoothly and looking like they know what they're doing. Maybe it's just big plays, these explosive plays that we're hearing are kind of lacking in spring practice. Maybe some of those, maybe both defensively and offensively, if they balance out each other, maybe you can feel good about it moving forward. I don't know. Do you guys have an idea about the kind of ideal scenario for a Gamecock
football?
I think Luke Doty is probably the one you're not. I can't imagine you're going to see much of Kevin Harris. You're not going to see Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know if a wide receiver has a big day, if someone's necessarily going to get excited about that. But I think
if EJ Jenkins came in and had a big day, I think that would pump fans up at 6 foot.
You agree with that, Patrick? Is he the next guy on the list that maybe gets people really fired up? Because the defensive line, and Patrick, I'll let you answer this, but I was just going to say the defensive line is not going to be able to sack the quarterback. So, like, if Jordan Burch was to constantly have pressure on the quarterback, I feel like more people, based on what they saw at the end of last year, is going to be concerned about the tackle position, the offensive tackle position or the offensive line, and they're going to give less credit to Jordan Burch. Plus, they're going to blow the whistle if he's even close to Luke Doty. So you're not going to really know what happens there. But I feel like I agree with what Patrick said. Luke Doty's the guy who, if he has a good day, people get kind of fired up for on Monday.
Yeah, line play is never going to be what you're going to get excited about. The format of the spring game is just not conducive to that, and you're not beating your own guys up, so you don't need to see it. Plus, you've already seen Kevin Harris, so nothing he's going to show you is going to give you any more hope than what you already have after he rushed for 1,000 yards in a shortened season. So EJ Jenkins, I guess, just because of the pure size, is the one that could probably pump you up if he catches a couple jump balls or deep shots or something like that. But, I mean, we've seen receivers catch a bunch of balls in the spring game and not really end up meaning anything during the season. So I just think, Luke Doty, flashing arm talent. There's my favorite words. That's the only thing. Like, it's going to be like a pro day setting where you just want to see him making effortless throws to the outside, deep shots. Like, that's all that's really gonna shine in a spring game setting.
And I'm not sure, and you're not going to get this now because of the weather. I'm not sure if it's just not the ability to go out on what should have been or what we hoped would be a nice Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, watch a new era of football. I think there's going to be a lot of energy whenever they do it, whenever they play Friday night or Saturday, because I think that's what Shane Beamer and the staff is about. But I think, I think a lot of people would take everything with a grain of salt. Now, maybe we throw it out there tomorrow. What's the best spring game performance you've ever seen that really led to nothing? Taquay Muhammad comes to my mind in 2002, 2003, somewhere in there, having like 212 yards receiving that day with Corey Jenkins, I think. But I think just the general feeling of being able to get outside and watch football and see a new level of energy, to see Shane Beamer, to see some of these coaches, Justin Stepp and Marcus Satterfield and Torian Gray and Eric Kimry. I think that's some of it too, Tim. Just getting out and being able to kind of continue to renew, I guess, your optimism in Carolina football as opposed to where it was on December 1.
Anonymous texter hits us up. Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. Would be great to see Luke Doty roll out and throw a 30-plus yard touchdown to any wide receiver that looked good heading down the field on the deep ball. A specific wide receiver on the mind of Travis, who says, I really want to see the speed of Amarian Brown. They're the transfer from Georgia Tech. Mark says, seems like Colton Gauthier performing quite well, might be ahead of the transfer quarterback Jason Brown for second on the depth chart. So he's looking at the backup quarterbacks, which if your program is in good shape, I feel like that's really a lot of times what the spring game is, determining who the backup quarterback's going to be. I think this year it's not quite there for Shane Beamer and company at this point. Ryan says on the text line, I think the tight ends will be what impresses the most after the spring game. And Jason says, Bill, spring games are always for fans. Otherwise, it's just practice. And I understand where Jason's coming from, and largely it is for the fans over the players and the coaches. But when you have a first-year staff who will be out there for the first time in front of fans, and you got to figure out the mechanics. And I know they've done the scrimmages and the whole thing, but it's different when you put it on display. And, Bill, this is more of a PR display, I feel like, for the Gamecock football program moving forward than typical. Steve Spurrier, you didn't have much to prove when he had his first spring game, right? If the offense didn't look that great or whatever, you'd say, oh, well, clearly they hadn't figured out Coach Spurrier's way yet, and they're going to improve in the whole thing. But when you're a first-time head coach like Shane Beamer, and you have history with the fan base already, and the fan base is in desperate need of optimism, I feel like this might be the biggest PR display of a spring game that Gamecock football has seen in a long time, probably since the Brad Scott era, I would say, just based off of kind of the head coach and the resume and the reputation coming in.
I think you're right, and that's why I asked, like, the effort to get this in. I honestly feel like if it was next year or the year after, they would just say, hey, sorry, no spring game this year. I know they sold tickets. I know that some people had to buy tickets. But I feel like they would say, look, we'll refund your money, your $5 or $10, and, we apologize. The weather is out of our control. They would just kind of do away with it, and they'd have a 15th practice, and nobody say, I'm with you. And that's why I kind of asked, like, there is a level of when it's a new offense and a new defense, I understand what the texter was saying about it's always for the fans, but I'm with you. Some of this is the team putting fans in the stands and having guys perform with 15,000 people there. They need, I think the coaches would like to see that from the players, have film on it going into the summer. This might also be the one time it's not all about the fans, but getting the coaches some film with these guys at the very end of spring and seeing what they can do when there's actual fans there watching and it's not just, a regular practice. So I think it works both ways. We'll see. I really do think that they will have the spring game. I know Ann asks on the live stream, is there a reason why nobody's mentioning the possibility of moving the game to Sunday? My understanding, that's just not something they are considering. I don't know the reason for that. It's just what I'm kind of led to believe is that Sunday is not an option. I don't know why. I can't answer that. I think it's going to be Friday night, but the only reason I would question that is because Shane Beamer said last night they're trying to do something with respect to the baseball. So I don't know. I don't know what the rule is there.
Well, there is the rule that you can't play the baseball game on Sunday with a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. There is no rule, as far as I know. There are no rules at all. I guess there's a certain window that you have to play your spring game in, and that one is coming up. But I wouldn't think Sunday would have anything to do with that. So will be interesting to see what happens, if anything. I think if you're worried about affecting the baseball series, Bill, you probably just you'd leave the spring game where it is and you play in the rain. Like Patrick said, this generation's so soft. It's just supposed to be rain. It's not supposed to be anything more severe than that would have any kind of impact on a regularly scheduled game. Maybe you move it up a few hours and try to get ahead of it. But I think 6 a.m. is what I've seen from a forecast standpoint of when the rain is set to come in our area. 803-404.
I think it says potential for a heavy rainfall. Now, I'm looking at my weather app, and it doesn't give me a breakdown. It says, I like this. It says 100% chance of rain, and then that follows up with rain likely. Okay. And then it says potential for heavy rainfall, high of 69, winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, and it says rainfall near an inch. I think if it was just I remember going to, I think, one of Spurrier's first spring games. Stephen Garcia was there as a recruit. Gary Gray was there. And it was a kind of a nasty day. It was your typical early April day. It was a little chilly. It was kind of rainy that day. I remember standing on a ramp to kind of hide from the rain. They played that one. I think the problem here is it's not expected to just be a rain. It's expected to be something like we had to sit through at the Missouri game 2 years ago when it was an absolute downpour. So I think that's more the concern than just, it's a little bit of rain.
It's supposed to be dry tonight, maybe a little chilly at Founders Park, where a lot more fans will be allowed in tonight for Gamecock baseball, half capacity instead of about 25% capacity, what it had previously been. We'll see what the environment, I think a lot of us expecting a good home field advantage and environment for Gamecock baseball in the series opener against number 1 Arkansas. We'll talk to Gamecock great Kip Balknight about it coming up next. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
It's a new year.
They're hungry. They're driven.
New attitude.
I want guys that want to be here, not hire some guy that has a famous last name.
It's not some retreads. We're a bunch of guys that I think are ready to prove to people that we can do some special things here.
New attitude.
I do believe that things are always meant to be.
Welcome home.
My parents went to school here. This is it. There's no other job in the country I would have left for.
but to be right here.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5. The Game.
I don't have to tell Trey. Trey knows what's going on this morning. He says he's got Zero Res coming to the house soon. Zero Res has been out to my house a couple of times and done a great job for me. They can do a great job for you. They're going to do a great job for Trey today. Zero Res carpet and air duct clean. They do it differently than anybody else. That's what matters most to me and my family and my house these days. Yesterday it was the baby powder that somehow got on me because the 1-year-old is into absolutely everything. Just got the little diaper container there and pulls out everything out. And yes, I should have more control at my house, but I don't right now. You can judge me if you would like. That's your prerogative. What is not something that can be judged negatively is having no harsh chemicals involved in the cleaning process as far as a carpet cleaner like Zero Res. And Zero Res has a patented powered water system where they crank up the pH in the water, make sure everything is clean and sanitized. You can go to ZeroResColumbia.com to find out all those details. But that no harsh chemical thing, especially important with that 1-year-old getting everything these days. Got the 6 and the 8-year-old too. So nothing to worry about when it comes to Zero Res at my house. Also, no leftover soapy residue. That's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well. 803-262-4020 is the number to call, and you'll find out there's a great deal for you right now. 3 rooms of carpet cleans, only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Patrick, can you unmute? I'm still on mute.
All right.
Not going to happen there, Anthony. Wow, Bill. Bacon, cantaloupe, and now birthday cake.
Strawberries, too. I ate 3 or 4 strawberries.
You should be required to do the dishes at your house before you can have birthday cake from the 2 days before where you have to clean up the dishes.
Sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast. Do you ever get
How much cake was left, and where did you take it? Where are you eating it from?
in an amazing way? Get Wendy's $1.99.
I don't know where's the Publix, grocery store.
Is it in a box, like the cake box?
Yeah.
You should just take a fork and eat the cake out of the box. That's what I would.
Well,
some things are just.
it's a really good cake, and I got to admit, if it's here all weekend, I might continue to eat it. I might drop it off with the kids tonight when I see them, so that they can have it for the weekend and snack on it.
But whenever I have a cake and it has like the bubble top or whatever, I just keep a fork inside of it and just pop it off and take a bite as I walk by. Every single time I walk by.
Yeah, I've done that. Well, I think I've covered my breakfast this morning.
The ultimate foodie. Something like that. And have you given an offering to the cat? That's good.
I hadn't seen Clyde go walking by.
I have to say that's one of the coolest cat names, Clyde. And I know somebody else who has a cat named Keith, and I always just thought that was really cool.
Name what?
Keith, Keith.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
They named the ducks up here. The ducks are named, I guess, after some kind of television show that was on before I was born. Heathcliff and Gertrude.
Oh, wow, that's going way back.
There's 2 ducks that come wandering up.
Is that not just Heathcliff, the cartoon?
That's old timey.
Somebody told me what it was the other day. I was like, oh, okay.
And that was the Georgia game a few years ago that they moved it from Saturday to Sunday football game. And there's no rule about the spring game.
Yeah.
From a football perspective. The only rule was the baseball deal that I think Craig was talking about.
The comedian Red Skelton.
There you go.
Yeah.
That girl.
So just worrying about ripping up the field on a Sunday because of the rain? I can't imagine that would be too big a deal.
The last thing you want to do is move a game because of weather and then have to play on a sloppy field, right? Especially with injury concerns.
Yeah.
And,
Well, they're
you don't.
good enough that they can dry it out pretty effectively no matter what.
They do not have a 100-yard, 120-yard tarp and to throw on the football field.
They have tarp.
For the football field? I don't think so.
What's the difference?
What do you mean, what's the difference?
They have tarps. Tarps can be used for anything.
They're just going to bring it over from the baseball field? Put the baseball tarp on the football field?
You think they only have one tarp in all of the university? But they've got tarps.
I'm guessing baseball field and softball field.
So they've hundreds of millions of dollars.
One tarp.
Okay, who needs it?
They're on the phone. They're on the phone today. Hey, call up Lowe's. We need another tarp.
Where the hell am I supposed to find a tarp on last minute notice?
Call me up. I got some in my garage.
Yeah.
Oldest 29-year-old ever, Trey. Well done.
They're just now discovering they've only got one tarp. I like the thought of that down there in the athletic department.
Right? What do we do? All right, we're about to head back in. There's a friend skit that's going through my head. Hey, guys, we're up.
The South Carolina Pork Board, proud sponsor of Grill Bill. Go to 1075thegame.com if you would like to join. Every Monday the next few weeks is when we do our Grill Bill segment. We pick a qualifier from the website. Just go on there, put in a few questions you'd like to ask Bill, make him uncomfortable, /creative or entertaining, and that'll get you a $50 IGA gift card. And it will also qualify to win the grand prize there, the Camp Chef Pellet Grill, worth more than $1,000. Grill Bill, the contest tab on 1075thegame.com, sponsored by the South Carolina Pork Board, its member farmers, IGA food stores, and Camp Chef. Right now, time to get out to our loved Chevy phone lines, where we are joined by Gamecock baseball great Kip Balknight talking about
Arkansas. And I know you will be happy to see some more Carolina fans at Founders Park starting tonight, Kip.
Yeah, we have made that decision to amp it up a little bit and open it up. And, my personal opinion, I wish it was a full house. I think it's time, but that's not my decision to make, but certainly appreciative and glad that there'll be a lot more fans in the stands than we've had all year. But the fans this year have been really, really good. I've been very pleased with the fan support, and I think the players and coaches have as well. They've really appreciated the ones that have been there. They've been loud and made an impact in the game, which is what it's all about. And it'd be interesting to see. Hopefully tonight there will be a full house and lots of loud fans. Hopefully it'd be a good ball game for them.
Yeah, I think the 50% capacity now that they're allowing in for the rest of the season will feel like a full house compared to the 25% capacity, just more. And I think you're right. The fans who have decided to come out, who've made the effort to come out, have done so with a little bit more vigor, I think, than a typical baseball crowd might be. A more laid-back atmosphere, especially in SEC games. And now you get a number one ranked Arkansas team in, where I know listening to Andrew Eister yesterday mentioned that, they're human. Number one in the country does get the juices going a little bit more. From your experience, Kip, I know you guys were number one. You were the number one ranked team a lot during your career, especially in that 2000 year where you guys went 50-6. But what does number one having attached to your name mean for a series, especially in the SEC?
Well, I think the biggest thing is this, it's a number right now. I mean, you look at it, Florida was number one preseason in all 6 polls, and now they're still a top 20 team, and in my opinion, probably still technically a top 10 team. I think they're a really, really good team, and I think they'll do well in the postseason and potentially make it to Omaha. But, part of being number one is just it's a bigger target on your back. So it's, I think South Carolina, I think it's a very pretty close matchup. Looking at it, I mean, Arkansas's got some really, really good bullpen arms. I think their starting pitching is maybe a little bit behind of South Carolina's, but South Carolina's Bullpen's been really good too. I think the number that sticks out to me big time is the number of walks for Arkansas hitters. They walked 224 times in 36 games, and that's a lot of walks. And they're also have hit 70 home runs. So they're hitting the ball out of the ballpark. They got 2 guys with double-digit home runs and 2 with 8 and a couple with 9. So I mean they're swinging the bats. But Arkansas's ballpark is a hitter's ballpark, and South Carolina's can be a hitter's ballpark as well. So I think the matchup this weekend really comes down to starting pitching for South Carolina and them not walking guys. The fact that Arkansas has walked that many, and they're going to have to figure out what type of approach that these Arkansas hitters are taking, because if they're walking that many times, that tells you they can definitely be patient. But if they're, taking a strike, which I certainly don't think they will be, but they're going to have to, be aggressive. I think that's what that tells the South Carolina pitchers, is they're going to have to go at these guys and be aggressive and trust their stuff and trust that their stuff is good enough to get these Arkansas hitters out, which, Tim, and calling some of the games, you've seen it. South Carolina's pitchers, they've got plenty enough good stuff, and they've just got to trust it and go out and execute.
I think Thomas Farr, the Friday night starter, maybe been the topic of most conversation for Gamecock fans, and it's an odd trend halfway through the SEC with a 1-4 record in the series openers, and then 9-1 combined in games 2 and games 3. So I think it makes I get why people are talking about it. Kip, I'm interested in hearing the opinion of a guy who started a lot of game ones in SEC series in your career and won the Golden Spikes Award as the best player in all of college baseball back in 2000. What do you think of Carolina's frontline starter in what we've seen from Thomas Farr so far, and how he goes into tonight's start?
Well, he's plenty talented enough. I mean, that's not even a question. The talent is there. The numbers don't look great. His last 3 or 4 outings haven't been great, but it's been a little bit of a bend not break. He hasn't just absolutely given it up, if you will, but he's not pitching deep into games because he's getting his pitch count up. He's walking a lot of guys. There's a lot of 3-ball counts, but Friday nights is more than just stuff. Friday nights, there's a lot of, you think about pitching on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, you get a 4 o'clock start. Sunday, you get a 1 o'clock start. Friday, you have class. You got to go to class. You get done. You got to have lunch. That's a long time till 7 o'clock at night, and a lot of things to think about. So there's a lot more from the mental standpoint. Plus, you're facing a number 1 in the SEC every single Friday night. That's a difficult thing. So I think that there would have probably have been a change, in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion. This isn't anything from the coaching staff or players or anyone, but I truly think that there would be a change if South Carolina was struggling right now. Winning SEC series, so it's almost like if it isn't broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And some people will say, well, God, if you make a change, then you might get sweep. Yeah, well, maybe you can, but one thing that I really like about this team is their moxie, their fight, their grit, their ability to, have their backs to the wall. I mean, what they did at an LSU, it was incredible. After being down and not hitting the ball at all, and then coming back and winning 4-2 in the 7th inning on the road, and then just blowing them out in the second game, our final game of the series, the second game of the doubleheader was incredible. So I actually am optimistic for Thomas Farr tonight. I think that this is the night for him to come out and show and prove that he is the number 1 in the SEC, and we'll see what happens.
He's Gamecock great Kip Bouknight joining us on the Love Chevy phone lines right now. And Kip, you mentioned that doubleheader at LSU. That was to get ahead of some bad weather coming in Baton Rouge last weekend. You think we're going to get another doubleheader for the Gamecocks tomorrow, getting ahead of Saturday's weather?
Well, I think they're going to wait, and I'm sure they'll be talking to the National Weather folks and try to figure it out. But I know they don't want to play a doubleheader, and I wouldn't either, especially with the way our bats are, and you want to get as many at bats as you can at home, and plus I think it shortens the game. I mean, South Carolina still, in my opinion, has an advantage from the starters standpoint, Arkansas's bullpen's really good. Ours is too, but I think it bodes well for South Carolina to play 3 9-inning games. So, it would be that. I do think that Friday would be a doubleheader, probably a 2 and a 7 start, 2 9-inning games would be my guess. But I just think that, it's so tough with the weather, but with them having to play and get done in 3 days, that's just what you have to do. So South Carolina's just got to be prepared and deal with it better than the other team can.
Just interesting that Arkansas is going to tweak their rotation this weekend as well. The typical Friday night or their first game starter is actually not going to get the start this weekend. I don't know what that means for Arkansas. I'm not going to sit here and say I've studied them enough to know what exactly they're thinking or how this could play out, but it is interesting that they're going to go. I was looking for the kid's name that they're going to start here.
Is the usual starter, right?
That's the usual. They're going to go with Caleb Bolden, who's 2-0 on the season with a 4.63 ERA. Hadn't started a weekend game since the third week of the season, but he will get the game one start tonight. And then Peyton Pallett will start whenever the second game takes place.
Bill, I think that's a good point. But I think the reason you're seeing that is that, again, they're starters. If you look at it, that they're starters. That's not really where it's at, if you will. Their bullpen has been really, really good. And, they're just trying to probably find the right fit for somebody they feel like they can get into the 5th or 6th inning and turn it over to their bullpen. So that's why I think that South Carolina is going to have to do everything they can to win that starting matchup, that battle. And I think it's a perfect opportunity to do that. You're at home. Again, Thomas Farr has struggled in the past, probably 3 or 4 outings, but the biggest thing for me is fastball command for him. I know he's been working on his changeup, which is a really good pitch for him, but I just think he's got a good enough fastball that if he can command it to both sides of the plate and then pitch that and then throw that high fastball like he can and has shown late in the count and be able to get easy strikeouts, I just think he could run, do really well in this matchup.
He's Gamecock great. Kip Balknight will be on the call for the SEC Network Plus on Friday. I believe I have that schedule right. Tonight's SEC Network regular deal. Is that right, Kip?
Yeah, that's right. It's Dave Neal and Ben McDonald on the call. So that'll be a fun one to watch and listen to.
I'm wondering, I heard this Mark Kingston slipped this in, and I'd never heard this percentage number before, and I'm wondering your thoughts on it. He said that baseball is 75% about what you do, your own team, as opposed to adjusting to the other team. I think he was talking about it specifically in respect to his pitchers and approaching things with what you were talking about with Thomas Farr, especially throwing strike one and having command and not walking guys. Is that where you would put that number? 75% of baseball is all about what you and your team are doing, and then it's a 25% kind of ratio adjusting to what the other teams do.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good number. I think that you almost have to, again, you have to have that 100% confidence that your stuff is going to beat the other guy. But then you do have to make adjustments. And those adjustments are not just, okay, well, this guy's normally not good on sliders down and away, and that's how I can get him out. Well, if it's the first inning and you're facing the number 3 hole guy for Arkansas tonight, and Thomas Farr tries to get him out and strike him out with a breaking ball with nobody out, or 2 outs and nobody on, to me, that's the wrong approach. The right approach there is to pitch him where he might not be thinking he's going to get something because he's looking for that slider away. And you want to try to save some things in your back pocket so when you're facing that guy with second and third and 2 outs in the 5th inning with a 2-1 lead. So those are things that, I was able to learn at the next level a ton and learn from, great guys like Matt Holliday, who was my left fielder, and Henry Blanco, who was my catcher in Venezuela. That's how you pitch into the 7th and 8th inning, and that's how you can steal outs, when you're facing a guy, because I can assure you that hitter knows, if I'm in a 1-2 count and I just flung through a fastball, I'm probably getting that hard slider here, that hard breaking ball away. So, to me, that's where you have to, have a little bit of a different mindset sometimes to be able to face and be able to go through the lineup more than twice, even with really, really good stuff. So, we'll see what happens tonight. But I think that can be a very, very interesting, and that's really and truly, you have to do that in the SEC. You have to do that at the next level when you're facing good hitters. You can't just pitch to their weaknesses and pitch, by the book, if you will. You have to be able to switch it up sometimes and double up going inside twice in a row. A lot of times guys will just throw a fastball in one time and then go right back away. Well, what's wrong with doubling up sometimes? And, I think those are things especially that you've got to do to keep a good hitter off balance.
Last question for former Gamecock Golden Spikes Award winner Kip Bouknight. 1 out is needed. Pressure situation against number 1 Arkansas coming up here tonight or Friday, Saturday, anytime in this 3-game series. Who's the one pitcher you want to have the ball for Carolina?
Well, you can't not say Brett Carey. Brett Carey for me could be a Friday night starter. I think he's a 4-pitch guy. He's got 47 strikeouts in 25 and a third inning. He's 3-0 out of the bullpen. He's just got so much poise. But you also got guys. What's amazing is you got a lot of guys, in my opinion. Andrew Peters is a guy that I would feel 100% confident with. I'd also feel really confident with Julian Bosnick right now. He's thrown the ball really, really well out of the bullpen since making that move. Will Sanders, a guy on Sunday, he's incredible. I love his mouth. I love his, whether it's just because he's a freshman and he's maybe too young and confident to realize what he's doing. He's been outstanding. So I definitely, it's a good thing that Jack Mahoney, another guy that's been outstanding this year, pitching really, really well. And he'll be available this weekend as well, which is really, I think, big for South Carolina. It's an extra arm because they didn't have a midweek game that they can use him. So it's pretty exciting when you've got a bullpen that you feel that confident in and deep in. Daniel Lloyd's pitched really well here of late as well, thrown some good innings and got a good heavy 94, 96 mile-an-hour sinker. So South Carolina's in great position. I think it's going to be a fun weekend.
No doubt about it. Against number 1 ranked Arkansas, first pitch tonight, 7 o'clock at Founders Park. Kip on the call for the SEC Network Plus starting tomorrow. We'll see if there are any adjustments made. We'll know a little bit more maybe later this afternoon is when USC expects to make an announcement if they're going to shift anything. Kip, appreciate the time as always and the look into Arkansas. And any advice, any final parting advice for Gamecock fans that might be headed to Founders Park tonight or the weekend?
I'd just be loud and engaged. I think that's the biggest thing. And they really have been this year. It's just haven't been enough of them, and that's not their fault. I just, feel extremely disappointed. Wish we had 7,000, 8,000 there tonight, but it is what it is, and you got to make the most of it. So, fans, just be loud. And, if it's 3-1 in the 7th and we're losing, make it really, really difficult for them to finish those 9 innings, because I can tell you when you're on the road and you're pitching, and even with a lead, a 2-run lead in South Carolina's ballpark. And look at what they did on the road at LSU, down 2-0 in the 7th and end up winning 4-2. So that tells you this team is not giving up. Let's make sure our fans, stay engaged and excited and ready to go and play all 9 innings. The kids that are going to play all 9 innings, let's make sure our fans play all 9 innings.
Kip Bouknight, appreciate the look at Gamecock baseball. We're going to stay with the Love Chevy phone lines when we come back. Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp up next with some NASCAR picks. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick, weekdays 9 until noon on 107.5 The Game.
Was a little windy last night, little chilly this morning, so you're probably not thinking right now about hopping in the pool, but you will be in the next few weeks. And the question will be, is your pool ready for you to jump into it? Is your pool ready for your kids and your significant other to jump into it, because let me tell you, if they're ready to use it and you don't have it clean, boy, are you enemy number one in the household. Don't allow that to happen, and don't waste your precious time trying to clean it. Allow a professional with 20 years of experience in the pool industry to do it for you. Tracy Corley, Corley Pool Solutions. And how about this? They can do it for cheaper than you can going to the store yourself, having to pay for all those chemicals, for everything that you've got to put in the pool, then try to figure out how to mix it, spend all the time that you have to spend on a Saturday or a Friday night when you could be watching baseball, all the time that you'd have to put into it. No, let a professional do it. That way it's ready for you and your family, whether you want to get in there and play a little volleyball, throw the kids around, work on your diving, whatever it may be, you want your pool ready to use. Give Corley Pool Solutions a call today. 803-445-8109. That phone number again, 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals, is what Tracy and his team can do for you. And you heard me say it, 20 years of experience. Let me tell you, if there's an issue with your pool, he will gladly come out there himself. He'll fix it. He'll take care of you. Treating people like family is important to me. You've heard me talk about it with other companies. Corley Pool Solutions is no different. They've been providing South Carolina pool owners with superior pool services for over 20 years. They'll continue to do it for 20 more. Give Corley Pool Solutions a call. 803-445-8109.
I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick, gentlemen.
All right. Time for some NASCAR picks. Let's see here. Let's do a little looking here, a little looky-loo. I know who I'd like to take. So we'll see here.
Is Kevin Harvick still racing?
Yeah, he's still hanging out around their track, driving in a car. I don't think any of us have taken him all year.
He's going to win this week.
You going Kevin Harvick?
Yep.
Okay, good pick. Good pick. Oh, yeah, I see. Let's see. Kerry took him once. Kerry's taken him 3 times.
He's just not had a great season.
No, he hadn't.
There's a couple that have just been snake bit, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, most of my picks have turned out to be that way.
Yeah, you're really on fire.
Yep. Dumpster fire.
Well, what's crazy is none of us have been able to pick a winner yet.
Right.
All right. I think I've picking third. Happy Friday, DC. Oh. I tell you what, it warmed up in here. I got a pullover on, and I decided to keep it on, but it has gotten warm. Where is it?
I leave you guys to the stream and come back to nothing.
No, we had a good discussion. It was just, I just stood up for a minute because I was talking about how hot I was.
My Kevin Harvick rookie card.
Yeah, it's a good point by Chavo there that Patrick had to ask if Harvick's still racing or not. When we said he was, that became his pick.
Yeah, because I was looking for his rookie card. He's going to win this week, then I'm going to sell it.
Attaboy.
It's worth about 99 cents right now.
Did you see the again? I was having to come back from Columbia yesterday, so I flipped over for Heath's top 5 at 5, and he was talking about somebody selling Aaron Hernandez NFTs of unreleased raps he did in prison.
Oh my gosh!
Who's like? How can they be allowed to do that?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, I have no
Don't you
clue.
have to have like the rights to his music or something? I assume Mark Martin's not racing anymore, right?
I think that's correct, sir.
I got his card too. And I don't think Michael Waltrip is racing anymore either.
Correct.
Yeah, well, he is in SRX in the series.
Okay. I have 3 NASCAR cards. I have Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin, and Kevin Harvick.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, Mark Martin's got his Pfizer suit on. Maybe that's worth something now.
Oh, there you go. I love you some Michael Waltrip now. Guys, right.
Just a few minutes away from the second chance you got to win $100 this morning. Second of 10 chances you'll get every single workday with us through May 12th. It's $25,000 workday payday. Every top of the hour, a secret keyword pops out. You text that one to 95819 and you qualify to win $100. Every winner entered to win the grand prize jackpot of $25,000. Again, that's work 25K workday payday here on 107.5 The Game. We're right out to the Love Chevy phone lines again, and happy to be joined by Darlington Raceway President, longtime USC
Director Kerry Tharp. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing great on this beautiful spring day. How's it going?
It's going well here, and being at Talladega this week for NASCAR, I assume also has you in a pretty good mood?
Well, it really does. I mean, Talladega is, one of those places that you can throw the record book out the window. And so I think we're going to see some movement in our point standings this week. And I've been studying our picks. I spend countless hours a week going over our picks. And I just don't like, the fact that where we are in the standings right now. And Jen needs some help. Let's face it, she needs some help. And but coming to Talladega, I think that's the perfect tonic for the standings to get turned upside down.
I agree.
I have never felt better about my contributions to the show than earlier today. Patrick said he was worried about his hair and not wearing a hat, and I have now convinced Kerry to do some research before making picks, and he's really been studying. I feel like a proud papa today of this radio show.
He's a really big influencer.
It's starting to rub off.
Big influencer.
Starting to rub
that
off.
Bill Gunter.
I will admit, my first year or two on the program, I just kind of shot from the hip. I saw how serious you all were taking it, and I said, I got to get to work. So,
I understand.
That's how we do things now.
Well, it paid off in a 2020 NASCAR Picks Championship for Kerry Tharp, the Darlington Raceway president. This year, right now, it's earned him a second place showing right now, 2 points behind Bill. Reggie Anderson over at WLTX is 2 points behind Kerry in third, and Jen Jensen in a disappointing last place thoroughly right now with 15 total points. Bill's got 27. You do get 10 points if you correctly pick a race winner. So maybe Jen can do that this weekend. Let's give, though, our guest, Kerry, the first shot. Who's going to win at Talladega, Kerry?
Oh, Talladega. Let me see here. I'm going to go with the 2-car. Brad Keselowski. He's a great racer at big tracks like that. Hasn't had so much luck the last few times, but I like that 2-car being kind of second and third place, coming around on the last lap and then getting up to the lead and then throwing a big block on somebody to take the flag. So I like Brad Keselowski to win Sunday at Talladega.
I like that.
About a minute left in the show. Jen, where are you going?
All right, I'm still going to stay on my Blaney train. He's pretty strong at these tracks. He's won a few times, and I think he'll break out this week and finally get the win and not do something stupid in the pits.
Unbelievable. My top pick falls to me. I go with my guy. We have not had a winner, which is crazy. We've not picked a winner all year. We've all been very, very close.
35.
You got to give me Denny Hamlin, man.
Of course.
6 consecutive top 5 finishes at super speedways. It feels like this is his week. Kerry took him 2 weeks in a row. He's been third. He's been second. This is the week for Hamlin.
25.
Finally win the first race of the year and start to really pull away from you jabronis.
Stepped in what? Okay.
Kerry, thanks as always for joining us at Kerry_Thart, where you can follow him on Twitter. Have a good weekend, sir.
You guys have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. This is 107.5 The Game.
All right, that'll do it.
Yep, that will do it.
All right, the losers of the 2016 draft were
Patrick, by the way, on your Kevin Harvick pick, he has not finished higher than 10th there since like 2011.
This is his week.
He is due. If you're looking for that, he is due.
He is due. In the iRacing, his son, who's like what 8, 9, something like that, he came in 38th in the iRacing Talladega race last night.
Wow. Okay. All righty.
I don't think that's going to happen, Craig. Appreciate the suggestion, though. We'll see. We'll see how the baseball game goes. Happy Thursday to you too, Mark. Appreciate you guys checking out the live stream as always. Nice work today.
Mm-hmm.
And watch out for Cale Yarborough coming on Sunday.
That's right.
Get to meet Cale Yarborough several years ago when there was a little race for a diabetes association where we had like little go-karts that had like little fiberglass frames that had our logos on them, and we ran around like the Hampton Preston Mansion and all that. That was so much fun. He was there.
Nice.